A lot.
We did
Lion King 1.5.
Oh yeah, that
Lion
one.
King- yeah. So we did that, and unfortunately, we're going to do that again. However, the last time we met is everyone had to stop and get off the ship and head over to Green Nest because we ran out of ale. And as the good captain had told you, this is the first time and the longest he has been sober. And he cannot operate the ship properly sober. So you have to go out and get everyone drinks. We ran into Satet's backstory that went some places. It got serious, it got sad, and then it got very morbid.
Not my fault.
This is what happens when we don't have our bard.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It got dark. It got nice and dark. But I think we had a very different kind of fun that day. However, you were able to return to the ship with the amount of ale requested. Now, I'm not going to heave on some new contrivance as to the damage of the ship, or any kind of shenanigans that would have happened to the ship that would leave you grounded for a few days. I'm going to go with the only next logical problem that would most likely arrive. Shore leave.
They just gotta get their
Oh,
land
lordy.
legs back.
The whole ship found out that Green Nest is more than accepting of complete strangers off the road, so long as they proclaim themselves heroes. And it was decided unanimously throughout the crew that they're going into town and having a little bit of fun. They know they've got a big job ahead of them. And when you're staring down the possibility of not coming back, as they had just dealt with, they want to go and live it up a little bit. Shore leave was asked and granted. So another day or two is going to be spent on the ground.
Right. So this is the same town that we were operating in last time. We just haven't left yet.
Yes, you are outside. You're a couple hours walk outside of Green Nest. Satet, who has come down with a bad case of melancholy, has decided that he's going to spend some time by himself and get his thoughts in order.
That's reasonable.
However, for everyone else, you are welcome to be about the ship and go back into town, whatever you'd like to do.
We walk into town with them. Could I be like playing a song for them to kind of like get the town hyped? Kind of like a throw a coin to your sailor hero type of a thing.
Yes, they're actually going in to do the firearms bit, where they go in with the rifles, and they're going in and they're doing that to make their gold, and they will spend that money there in town.
I have a logistics question on that.
Yes.
If they're going in, they are selling these weapons? The gold that they make is from sales?
No, they're going in and they're doing performances with the weapons.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense and removes the logistical problem I was just imagining.
Yeah, no, they just go in, check out the newest weapons, the future of armament, and they shoot some, watermelons, people ooh and ah. It's a real, what is it they called it, where you spin the weapon around and you do a little jig. I had to do it.
Color guard.
Yeah, but I was really bad at it, so they made me stop. Yeah, they're just basically going in and doing that, and they're getting gold thrown at their feet. Roger, you are welcome. You are welcome to lead them in. They're in high spirits, and they would more than welcome the tune as they come in.
Please and thank you.
So with that, Roger, you're going to head into town. Johann, what would you like to be doing this day?
I think that if the whole crew is heading into this town, and given everything that happened just recently, I think I would seek out Isolt and suggest that we keep an eye on them and make sure that things stay low-key.
Isolt would have taken some time to write some letters to her brothers. So at some point, she's going to want to find like a post service to send them all off.
Sure. Now, speaking on that, the night before, you receive a divined message. One that is from Bran.
Oh, okay.
The message entails in some short words that I see you're in the area. I too will be in Green Nest. We should meet.
Okay. So
The last bit of the message is, I'm babysitting.
Isolt is highly amused by that message. So she agrees with Johann that they, should be trying to keep this low key, but she's also like, apparently my brother's in town, my older one, not one of the triplets. And we'd like to meet up. Apparently he says he's babysitting, though that's a little, shall we say, ominous and amusing at the same time. We've had a lot of that sort of situation, so, not surprising, but...
Well, would you like me to accompany you to that, or is that a private meeting?
Oh no, I wouldn't mind you meeting him at all. I simply wonder if we're, depending on whether or not we want to keep things truly low-key, whether we should be dividing and conquering, as it were.
I think that once they've got their performance begun, we'll have some time to ourselves. That should be reasonably under control. It's once they are not on stage and perhaps getting into the cups that I'd be more worried about their conduct.
You certainly have a point there.
But if you can arrange the meeting during the performance, we should be fine.
Alright, I'll see what I can do. So Isolt then, I guess, would try to send a message back to Bran, basically saying, I can meet, it has to be during this time, though, because technically I'm babysitting too, just adult sitting.
Okay. The message, you unless you have a means to send a message back, it was basically a one-way thing.
Gotcha.
It's hopefully you'll cross paths. Roger, what did you have to say?
Do I have sending or some shit?
I was just saying, don't worry about the sailors. I'm with them. What could possibly go wrong if I'm there?
Yeah, Roger's with him. It's no big deal.
I have actually, in my rituals, I have Skywrite and Magic Mouth. So, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's a place in Green Nest where I could put Magic... Because Magic Mouth, you can have it trigger so that only a certain person...
Oh, I thought you were going to Skywrite. Gotcha. See you then.
Oh my god, that would be hysterical. I was going to say, if I were to Skywrite something like... I'm trying to think if they'd have used like a code phrase or a code word or some secret language that she could write, that I was going to say, they were like a well-coordinated... I've been literally sitting here like typing up the backstory in full. Let's see, Skywrite.
No, I wouldn't worry so much about the particulars of it. you've been in Green Nest the day previous, and there's no threat there. You've not been approached by anybody meaning you particular harm. Even if you have approached somebody meaning them particular harm, it might just be easy as go into town and see him.
Okay. And then
Something-
if it's not as easy as going to town and see him, I'll put a magic mouth somewhere where I think he'll pass.
Right. Some things aren't so complicated. Just like the good captain said.
That's true. Whether or not he was right,
He was also drunk when he said it, you know.
that's true. Although, don't
So,
they say like truth comes from children and drunks?
Indeed. And in that case, he is constantly truthful. So what is it you have been doing with Chad the Astral Chain?
I have that shit wrapped up and in a bag under several layers. I've not touched the hilt. I've not touched it again. I want nothing to do with it.
Wait, it has a name now?
Currently.
Chad the Astral Chain. Is the full name of it,
Okay, I just don't know if I missed that.
and it really is a Chad.
Yeah, yeah. It named itself.
Okay,
It's had many names. Cat Killer.
there's one you can't deny.
It seems to me
Yeah.
that if we don't want anything to do with it, we may end up in our travels in Candle Keep and could foist it off on someone there for a sum.
Oh, believe me, that was my intention, to bring it to Candlekeep.
Well, then we are of a mind.
Do you carry it with you, or do you leave it in the ship?
Oof, that's a good question. I probably don't leave it in the ship, but I don't carry it openly. So
Bundle
like,
it up in your bag or something.
yeah, it would be bundled up probably across my back under my cloak,
Now,
with
Jojo
the hilt
Swift,
sticking up.
Jojo Swift, who almost never leaves the ship for these shore leaves, unless there's something more interesting than town folks. I'm sure they would be interested to maybe take a gander at this blade, if you would leave it with them for more exploring and understanding.
Well, I mean, I did talk to Jojo Swift about it the one time, and he was the one that basically clued me in. He's clued us all into the fact that like there's a wizard spirit in the friggin' thing.
But with
She would want assurances that she would want assurances from Jojo and the creepy gnome spider legs dude that it wasn't going to be lost, and that Satet would be safe.
Jojo can only speak for themselves. Gilwall can hardly speak.
Okay, so if Jojo can assure Isolt that it'll be fine, then she has less of a problem leaving it with them. I mean, you know what? I'm going to roll an insight because I am naturally suspicious. That is going to be a 15.
Okay. They have no ill intent with the blade.
Okay, so I leave it with Jojo then. I mean, Jojo did, let me copy from their spell books the rituals, so,
Right.
you know.
So, they're going to do a little bit of research on that. And you all can head into town. The walk is no greater than it was last time. However, you have company as the crew goes in. It's only about 7 people and the captain heading in. You see that the house off in the distance, there's at least no longer a pyre in which the family is being burned on. But you can see the house near the back is starting to be slowly rebuilt as work had been done the previous day. You come into town to the market where, once again, everyone is roaming about. It's fairly clear overhead, a few clouds in the sky, and people seem to be in a fine mood, just as happy to see everybody as they were the day before. An interest is quickly growing with the strange band of strangely but well-dressed individuals setting up shop in the middle of town. With that, what do you guys want to do in Green Nest?
I mean, I'll keep an eye out for my brother.
Okay.
That faith leader, who was representative of the goddess of the harvest, is she still in town helping the family at this time, or did she move on?
They,
Okay,
Faith Leader Falcon Moon,
right.
they may still be at the house or they may be at the temple.
If there is a moment to head in the direction of the house and find out if they are still there, I might take that opportunity.
You're welcome to do so. Roger, what would you like to do?
Just hype up my boys.
Okay. So it's easy enough to start. As they're getting set up in the middle of town, you can start playing around, start getting your instrument out, start strumming a few bars, calling out to a few people. Roger, go ahead and roll me a performance check. And what are you playing?
Performance is going to be 25.
Woo!
Just playing my bone flute. Just trying to think of how I can make this more of a spectacle. That's not hard. Just something. Playing something real fast, light, very catchy.
Okay.
Then I'll come back to you on that.
All right. While you're walking around playing and playing very well, there are a lot of children who are interested in what they're seeing, and they start meandering over into your direction. But though people are enjoying the performance, you can see there is apprehension about their faces as they see you. Children absolutely enamored with the strange thing playing music, but the adults, they seem to be wary, particularly of you. But perhaps that second part of your performance will win them over. However, heading out of town, which is going to be to the east, you can indeed head in that direction, Johann, but you will not find Faith Leader Falcon Moon there yet, or perhaps at all today. How would you like to seek them out in their native temple?
No, I'm not looking for Falcon Moon. I'm looking for the family.
Okay. It's easy enough to find. You see that they are indeed in their house. Just from the walking around from a few directions and running a few cups of water out to the laborers who are helping to put fences back together and repair the barn and the house respectively. But you can see what looks like basically only the women folk left. It looks like perhaps a grandmother, a mother, and an aunt, and a young daughter.
All right. I would approach openly and smiling and say, ask if there was any way a traveling priest could be of assistance.
They look to you, particularly the old woman looks over and looks to you, and you see the old woman kind of move inside. But you see one of the elder women, the mother or the aunt, comes over, and she says, "Well, we have plenty in the way of laborers, and they're doing fine work. And the church has been more than charitable about about giving us supplies and things that we'll need, at least for the coming winter. I suppose I don't know. I don't think so. What do you have? What can you do?
Well, first, I am very glad to hear that the priestess of the goddess of the harvest has been so helpful to your family. As a traveling priest, I did come into the knowledge of the dreadful event that befell your house, and I was hoping that perhaps I could provide for you in some material way, assisting the laborers in reconstructing anything destroyed in the attack, providing food, providing comfort or healing to any of your family, or counseling, if that is something that you're needing to speak of the events to help deal with the trauma of the situation. I have many services that I could offer your family should you need them, but of course I am not here to impose if you are already seen to. Just know that I am available.
She kind of looks to you curiously and she says, Faith Leader Falcon Moon, they've taken very good care of us, as has our neighbors. Um, they've warned us of a traveling priest. And you seem too kind to be the one of which they've warned us of. But they had just recommended that if we had any spiritual or any needs to come to them in the church or our neighbors. And I think for what they've done for us, I think we'll respect that. But thank you and bless you for your offerings.
Of course. Well, if anything should come to mind, and perhaps faithfully the Falcon Moon finds themselves unable or unaround to provide, and I am yet here, feel free to seek out my services.
And how would we find you?
I will be staying in the town. I'm traveling with a group of performers who are actually putting on a show near as we speak. When not in the town, we're staying out a ways in the woods, so I wouldn't seek me there. But I will be here daily until we depart. I would imagine just a couple of days.
A show?
Indeed. These gentlemen with which we are traveling come into town and perform with these intricate tools of war they've repurposed them into a form of entertainment because they make a flash and noise.
She lights up and says, perhaps some entertainment would be just what we need, especially the younger kin.
Well, I'm headed that.
Yeah. Would you be kind enough to escort us in town?
It would be my pleasure.
She smiles wide and she asks that you wait just a few moments, and she will run in brief. She will come out with someone who appears to be her sibling and her young child. She's carrying the child, who seems to be about 3 or 4, and she smiles and she says, lead on, good priest.
You may call me Father Johann.
Father Johann, lead on.
I will do so.
And you are welcome to lead them back into town. Is there anything you wish to do in that walk-in?
Other than make polite conversation and endear myself to them, no.
Roll me a charisma check. The check will be a lot lower because it's just charisma.
That is a 16.
Okay. They find themselves enamored by you. So with that, Isolde, as you come into town, Johann tells you of his plans. You see Roger really performing at his best. And you find yourself alone in the market. How would you like to proceed?
Well, obviously she's gonna look for a book vendor.
Okay.
Um,
Oof. Hold on.
Books and scrolls and that sort of thing.
Yes. Sorry, my neck and my shoulders have been crapped up for a couple days.
Ugh, I know the feeling.
Well, as far as book vendors go, you can find a few. However, they're selling either blank journals or almanacs, or some small books of minor tales. Green Nut, though it's a decent-sized town, it is not one of any great knowledge or even great wealth. They don't have anything that would pique you beyond kind of casual peasant reading.
Anything interesting? Any interesting peasant reading? No, she literally just likes anything, stories, whatever. If
There
it's
are
fine too.
one of the most common books that you see about there is in fact a thinner book that reads as the tale of the rise and fall of the champion of Green Nest.
Is there a way that I can like pay to borrow the book for a little bit, read it, and return it?
Absolutely not. Buy it or get out.
That's fair.
What, does this look like a library to you?
Are there any libraries here?
No!
Well, that's a damn shame. How much for the book?
2 copper pieces.
Sold. So what's it called? Like the Tale of the Champion of Green Mist?
The rise and the fall of the champion of Green Nest.
Alrighty. So she buys the book.
All right. Damn, I've made a note. So with that, after reading a couple pages fairly quickly, you do get yelled at to buy it or get out, in which you opt to buy.
Yep.
And as you're fulfilling the second part of this demand, coming out, you hear the familiar, harsh, whispering voice of Bran. And you recognize the semi-sarcastic but poignant tone of we're here because we said we would perform a deed because you weren't quite prepared. So chin up and shut up.
So she, hearing Bran, of course, goes to investigate and figure out the best way to sneak up on him / greet him very snarkily, offensively, siblingly.
Roll me a stealth check.
Oh, I'm gonna fail that spectacularly, but okay. I was gonna say, honestly, she was gonna call out something like, what's an idiot like you doing in a place like this?
Okay. Roll me an intimidation check.
I'm not trying to intimidate my own brother. This is a sibling greeting. This is a sibling thing. Okay.
It matters.
12?
Well, it's a lot better than a 2. As you do this, you see Bran quickly spin on his heels. And as you see him, you see that his beard has grown a lot longer, and most particularly, you have seen that it has turned much more gray.
Oh my god, Bran! And she, like, wraps him in, like, this huge hug. She's like, you got old on me! What happened?
Well, I'm your older brother, or so I've been led to believe. I thought that's how time worked.
Yeah, it's not supposed to work that fast. Unless I'm getting grey next. Oh god, heaven forbid.
And you hear a voice behind him that says, "For humans, of course."
And so she raises an eyebrow at him. She's like, "Oh, don't tell me you're associating with some lowlife who's trying to shame you into God's know what."
He kind of pulls you back, and you feel something pinch off of your head.
Ow!
And he
Dare you?
he holds in front of him in this look of incredulity and goes, "Well, this looks quite gray to me."
Well, that's the end of it. Clearly, we just have to retire, go back to the mansion, round up the others, and go back to our old pranks. After all, if we're ancient, we can get away with it.
Indeed, indeed. He hands you the hair, and it turns back to your hair color.
Remind me why I love you?
He says, "I'm not sure. I think because you have to."
That's true. It's kind of a requirement.
Indeed. The voice behind goes, "Ahem. Time is wasting."
Oh, that's right. Something about, and she looks around Bran. Something about babysitting?
He snaps a look at you, and he kind of turns to show you that there is a relatively young high elf boy. He stands, sharp angular features, bronze skin, beautiful blonde hair that he is actually kind of braided and tucked in around his shoulder, down his chest. And he is arms are crossed, foot is tapping.
And who the hell are you?
And he says, "I am the prodigy Denian. Denian Gilrama. You're no need to bow. No need." Brand says, "Denian is in fact, yes, a prodigy. He is currently poignantly an acolyte."
Ah, so your apprentice, the one that you get saddled with and have to teach everything. You know, being a wizard really has its downfall.
No, I am, to be clear, I would not take such an apprentice. I am merely doing a favor for his master, Dendipar of the host tower of the Arcane in Luskin. In fact, I was called there far from home. And, well...
Did he just say the Arcane Tower in Luskin?
Yes.
So she pulls him aside and says to him in... I'm trying to think of what language they would have learned together. Okay. Halfling was a weird choice, so let's say that they all learned Halfling. Well, no, I'm looking at the languages I chose and going, why the heck did I choose that? So she says to him in Halfling, You're doing something for the Brotherhood of the Arcane Brotherhood of Luskin? Are you out of your ever-loving mind?
I mean, reasonably, yes.
Well,
Well,
the Arcane Brotherhood will take you, skin you alive, and use you for parts almost as fast as the Red Wizards of Thay. For any excuse whatsoever.
so when they came to me and they asked me for a favor, what would you have had me say?
They came to you?
Well, they came to a friend of a friend of a friend. And then to me. Look.
That's not comforting either.
Well, in pursuits of magic, what is? Now, this being said, let's not worry too much about it. We're here. He's already screwed the whole thing up. A drink. How's that?
Fine.
Oh, don't pout. Reminds me of days I've changed you.
You weren't old enough to. Lee was. Oh no, wait. You probably helped. You probably washed the diapers.
Yes, still counted. So with
Still
that,
counted.
he is going to point at the youth, and he will say, Master Denian, we will be retiring to the room. And he just kind of tightens his grip on his own chest, puts his nose up, and starts walking. And with a massive roll of his eyes, he will lead you to follow.
So I follow and I'm like, how old is that little twerp, really? Like, what, 12? By human standards, I mean.
Oh, 8, 9. Let's see.
Ugh,
No,
even worse.
I'm trying to think when you stopped being a good child.
I was never, ever a good child. Neither were you. The five of us used to pull pranks on Myrna. Myrna was their nanny. On
Yeah.
Dad, on anyone who happened to get caught in the crossfire. Literally anyone. We were not good children.
Oh, so you admit to being a child then? Oh, I'll write this down. And he takes out a piece of paper and he marks down when you said it, the date. And he points it, slows his book, and smiles at you.
She just kind of narrows her eyes at him. It's like, wizardhood has made you paranoid, brother. Paranoid, I say.
And whatever you're doing has made you gray, hag. And with that, the show in the center of town has begun. A couple vegetables, large vegetables, fruits have been purchased from nearby vendors, and a small, just kind of like a small stage has been set, which they have been set on. And most importantly, it has pointed towards the great stone walls of the keep in the center of town. And the good captain, the good captain steps forward, and he kind of points over at you, Roger, and says, "Give him a show."
So Roger will just keep playing around the area and just kind of like through the people. And is he noticing that the adults are kind of iffy on him?
There's definitely a look about them. They, as much as the kids want to rush forward, they're none too subtly pulling them back.
Okay. He'll take that into consideration. And he'll circle back to the good captain. He'll stop playing. He'll take a bow, and as he's taking a bow, he'll cast light on himself, on his robe actually, to kind of like draw the eyes in. And then he'll cast invisibility on himself, so that when he goes invisible, they see the good captain. That's kind of his cue to start.
Okay. As you glow, there is a great gasp. And when you disappear, there is kind of half of a relieved sigh and another of a cautious murmuring going on about the people. And the captain says, "Hello, everyone. We will be presenting you a most marvelous new invention, seen only in the greatest battlefield, with only the greatest warriors, against only the most dastardly of fiends." And he just kind of launches into his spiel, and the weapons are displayed, and the thing seems to start going on. However, now that you're invisible and you're seeing everyone's reaction to your tricks, what do you want to do? How do you feel about it?
Sad now. I would like to just kind of weave in and out of people. I just try and overhear, hear any whispers. Just see if there's a reason behind it. Maybe there was like a bone in my tooth or something. I don't know.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check with advantage.
Thank you for the advantage. That would be dirty 20.
All right. The hushed whispers are coming as is this the Emerald Terror they have spoke of? Why would it come into town this way and stand before everybody? Maybe it's planning to take over Green Nest. And it's just did you hear what happened outside of town? It seems it's coming from the north. They say heading south, migrating perhaps. And it's that there's assumptions that you are this Emerald Terror that has spread through town, that thing has come and has actually enacted some violence on the
Wow.
Would I recognize that people have been calling me the Emerald Terror, or no?
just what whether I think it's up to you whether you think your character would pick that up, but it's what the people are saying that it's like
Okay, then he
why
won that.
yeah, why would it be in the center of town threatening, playing music for us?
Okay,
So
then he is very confused. Does the town look familiar then?
No, you've never been
I've never
here.
been here. Okay. Shoot. I will just continue to kind of walk around, see what else I can hear, and then just kind of wander through town cautiously.
You do eventually find yourself at the job board.
Okay.
And you do indeed find something similar to that. You see that there are two notable jobs about. There is the Get Stoned job, which is what says Kill Stoned, Earthbreaker, and Get My Hammer. And that recommends that you go to the inn at dusk. And there is the Emerald Terror Cometh. Beware, deviant of the Northwest will rob stores, take livestock, and kill all who oppose them. 1,000 gold pieces for capture, dead or alive. And there is still wants for Grave Watch.
I will take that.
Okay. What? Which one?
The Emerald Terror poster.
All right. So with that, and as you begin to navigate through town, Johann, you have arrived just in time to see the show has begun.
All right. So I guess I would help the family find a place. Make sure that they're not crowded. They are still going through an emotional time. I want them to be comfortable. And then I would, once I was certain that they were where they needed to be and didn't need me any further, I would seek out Isolt's.
As they're watching this display with you, you see Roger performing his music and his trick of becoming invisible, essentially disappearing from the stage. The woman actually leans over and kind of places her hand on your, excuse me, hiccups, places her hand on your arm in kind of a need of protective way, and she says, "Was that it?"
Sorry, it? What do you mean?
The rumors of the Emerald Terror.
I'm going to give her a puzzled look and come in conspiratorial because I imagine it's kind of loud. I want to make sure that, we can be heard and understood without, shouting or anything. Says, I'm sorry, I am just now passing through the area and I had seen a flyer about this creature. The person on stage, the lizard folk, he's one of my traveling companions. I don't think that he is the Emerald Terror.
And she actually relaxes at that. By your word, she believes you. And says, then he's just an oddity. Someone different, someone strange.
Possibly. If it helps, my group had, as I said, seen the flyer and were going to look into these rumors to try and see if we could, at some point, figure out what this Emerald Terror was and perhaps see an end to it. But no, the man up there is not a threat. I guarantee it.
Well, you would do well for all of town if you could bring whatever it is either to justice or to the ground.
I'll seek some more information so that I might be able to do that.
She just kind of smiles and nods, and you can find your way off to find Isolde. Roger, you would indeed see Johann as being as well armored as he is in a crowd of, peasants. Pretty easy to find.
Okay, excellent. I'll make my way towards him.
Okay. The two of you can meet pretty quickly.
Oh, you're not staying on stage to perform?
Can I still be invisible at this point?
Yes, you'd still be invisible.
Awesome. Being from College of Whispers, I will whisper.
Could you see your class?
Excellent. I'll whisper to him, "Hey, Johann."
I'm gonna look around. Hey, Roger?
I'll tap on his armor so he knows what side I'm on.
Okay, turn toward that side. Is
And
that
then
you?
I'll place the poster that I got like into his hand. It's like I'll ask him like, do you know anything about this?
Well, only as much as what it says on the page. We saw this the other day. Imagine there must be some kind of green dragon tearing through the area, destroying farms. We think maybe it should be on our list of things to do.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm just a little bit worried. When I was performing, like kids loved me apparently, but everyone else seemed a little bit mad at me.
Well, as you mention it, the family that I was assisting did think that perhaps you were supposed to be the Green Terror. Now, you couldn't perhaps tell me any reason that'd be the case, could you?
Can't really recall.
I'm sorry, you can't recall?
No, you know me. I play music. I wag my tail.
I mean, as far as I do know you, that has been the case. However, your answer to this line of questioning has been rather roundabout, and now I'm wondering, is there something you're not telling me?
I mean, it was a hard couple of years, but I don't think I was terror worthy. Would could you ask around and see if you can get any more information about this?
I think I'd better had. I would stick to the performance. You know, and then probably make yourself scarce. Find Isolde and myself once you're done. I think we need to have a chat.
Good. Sounds good. I'll probably stick to invisibleness for now.
Sure, but they'll notice if there's no music. It was really enhancing the show.
It was?
Oh yes, most definitely.
You did just for the context. No one can hear the music over gunfire. It's almost continuous, rapid gunfire. No one can play loud enough.
I'm lying through my teeth then. I want him to feel good about himself.
That's fine. No, hey, that's fine. I don't want to be like, hey, now you're on stage the whole rest of the game. It's because
Okay.
no one's gonna play a flute louder than a gun.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll stick by the performers and I'll play them out when they're done with the show and all that.
I mean, but I guess if you wanted to accompany me, you could. If you wanted to stay invisible, I wouldn't even know.
I will for a little bit, actually.
Okay.
I feel a little bit safer near you rather than the guns, to be honest.
Well then,
Even invisible.
then per his request, I will find people toward the fringes of the show. I mean, I think most people are here for the performance, so I don't really want to disturb them. But people at the fringe of the show and anybody who's still going about daily life away from the show, I might stop them and say, can you tell me anything about what this Emerald Terra is supposed to look like? Is it a big old dragon?
So as you start to talk to a few people, there's a lot of people who tell you that they've only heard of it from the notice board. They haven't really heard or seen anything. A couple people actually speculate that the Emerald Terror led the attack on the home outside of town. Others would speculate that the Emerald Terror is, in fact, some sort of wormling that is growing and gathering treasure. But because Green Nest is has the Drake Riders and has such a powerful defense, it's trying to stay out of sight. It's really been kind of up and down. However, you are told that if there's any story to be told, the humble halfling is where all the storytellers stay and make their coin. You should go there.
Okay, then I guess the humble halfling is our destination.
Speaking of arriving there first, where a room is being shared, but now bar stools are being taken up, is going to be Bran and Yasalt.
Okay.
So he is immediately interested in what you have been doing. All he tells you is that he has been in front of a book in dim candlelight for like the past 10 years.
Look, we both know that you, Devin, and I love nothing more than to be in front of a book in dim candlelight for extended periods of time. Granted, you and I prefer the magical aspects of it, but you love it. Don't even lie.
Oh, I'm not lying. Simply not lying. I'm just simply I'm simply asking because when I went to check in on my dear baby sister, I had found that she is in a flying ship. And I feel that story is far more interesting than me in front of a book.
It's definitely a story. By the way, if you should happen to hear that the ship goes down, trust me, I'm fine. It's all a. You know what? Let me just start from the beginning, but slightly abridged for time's sake. And she kind of gives him a basic rundown, and hints that the ship may not entirely be theirs, but that's nothing nothing different from the sort of trouble they got up to when they were teenagers. And that, if he should hear of a ship going down and being lost, that it didn't actually, but to keep that knowledge to himself. I was going to write a letter to all of you just so that you wouldn't worry about me, especially after what happened to Father.
Well,
their dad was killed in a he was a stonemason, and there was a collapse.
Being no stranger to tragedy, I would look in. Should you have those letters, I'd be happy to send them. And he kind of wiggles his fingers magically.
Yeah. So she hands them over.
He takes them and he immediately starts reading them.
And she just rolls her eyes just over exaggeratedly,
Just there's nothing interesting in these, and he shoves them all in the same envelope.
Of course there's not. I was going to wait and tell all of you in person, but I'm sure you can embellish the story to your satisfaction.
Oh, I will. I'll tell them exactly what I want them to hear.
I don't doubt it.
Oh, all about your boyfriends and your children and the sultans and kings you have been with. They'll hear all of it.
Yes, the sultans and kings, and there really haven't been as many as either of us would like.
He kind of thinks on that a minute and goes, yeah, perhaps. Well,
now you have to tell me how you came to be, and I quote, babysitting this insufferable miniature humanoid.
Well, as I've told you, a friend of a friend of a friend called in a favor, a chain of favors, and apparently I was at the bottom of this particular totem pole, and as soon as I could, I teleported off to Leskin. Cold is the devil's breast, and I was told to take this youth to Candlekeep. That Dinan's master had some research he needed of him, and that he could do it there. And I was assured, utmost, he is a prodigy. He is he is casting far beyond his age, and so on and so on. So I certainly questioned Dendybar the Muddled no further, and I said, "Then on we shall go." I took him directly to Waterdeep, then to Baldur's Gate, then to Candlekeep. We went up the Lion's Way, and be damned if the damn kid didn't bring a book to be traded for entrance.
Good for him.
Indeed, good for him. Immediately, his first task from his great master of the North Spire fails it. Step 1 fails. So
What? In what way? If he brings a book to trade for entrance, out of character, isn't that how you get into Candlekeep?
that's exactly. But he didn't bring one they would take.
Oh, it has to be one they don't have.
It has to be one they don't have, or it has to have significance. Whether it's like, well, this was the book of.
So it can't be the rise and fall of the champion of Green Nest.
No, the one that is being cut and published 100 times.
Yeah, no. It can't be like the Harlequin romances we get in monthly.
No, it has to be a book of significance, or it has, you know, and he didn't bring one. So no, the books he brought, he thought were fine books of his own writings, and in much to my glee, much to my enjoyment, every book he handed to the guard didn't even take it in. Opened, closed, returned.
So you're telling me you couldn't get into Candlekeep?
Nope.
Well, it's a good thing you have me, then, isn't it? I have several things for you.
I am lucky to have you for very many reasons. None of them have yet proved useful, but this might be the way. However, I, clever one I am, asked them if there was a favor. Favor got me into this problem, favor may get me out. I said, what problems do you have that I may fix? I am a great wizard of divination, and I may be able to assist you in such matters. And it turns out that they recently had a scholar. And he kind of looks around. He had a scholar go missing. It was said that that scholar was doing some work of something. I guess some new artifact came in, and they were trying to gather information on it over a few weeks, and he went a little bit mad. Said that he was maybe possessed or something of the matter. He fled with some ancient texts, perhaps some items, and that they're trying to keep it quiet. I guess this artifact is something you don't want to go around talking about. And
Wait, artifact or text? Or both?
It's to my knowledge, it's an artifact from what I was able to divine.
Where was the scholar last seen?
Well, he was running east, and that's why we're here. Closest town to Candlekeep East is Green Nest.
What the heck were those creatures? Hang on, I have it in my notes. The ones that were worshipping the gelatinous cube.
Oh, those were the frog toad things. They were called.
The frog. Oh God, I have it here somewhere.
That was far south of where you're at.
Oh, bullywogs.
Bullywog.
Yeah, that was far south.
Could you discern what kind of artifact it was?
I haven't a clue. I was merely told it was an artifact. He studied it, went mad, and fled. And they want him back. That's all they would tell me.
If I were to show you something, an artifact that I found, would you be able to divine if it was the same one?
Nope, not that I could think of. If it was the same one, he didn't run off with the artifact. They said they still have the damned thing. It was merely that he studied it and it drove him mad.
Well, seems a little too coincidental that I have stumbled across an artifact in my own travels that handled improperly, can cause a similar effect.
Any artifact handled improperly could cause any kind of serious side effects: violence, death, happiness. Such things happen in artifacts.
This could be all of the above, especially when it
Ooh.
seems to be something that contains the soul of a wizard. A rather angry one.
Interesting.
So she tells him basically what happened when she first touched the sword, what she felt, and what she saw.
And he is absolutely enamored with the tale. Absolutely, like pulling out a book, writing down notes, and kind of penning some thoughts of his own next to them. And it is about this time from those conversations that Johann and the invisible Roger may arrive at the inn.
Is there like a spell to copy an object? Because Isolt has a fairly full journal of like all that's happened, as well as that book of lore that had those little snippets in it. If she could like duplicate duplicate her journal with her notes so far, and everything she learned, I was gonna say.
I'm not aware of any particular duplication spells, not off the top of my head. So it would have to just be good old fashioned copying somebody else's homework.
Geez, that would take hours, but I'll Google.
In any case, so with the arrival of the two of you, you see that Isolt is sitting with an older man.
How much older?
Who's that?
How much older would you say Bran is?
Let's see. Lee would have been about 5. Bran would have been about, like 3 years.
So yeah, roughly about her age.
Grayer than me, but
He's endured more stress.
oh, has he?
Okay. So I will head into the tavern. About how many other people are in the tavern at this time?
You can see that as you're coming around to about afternoon, the lunch rush is starting to come in. However, it's much leaner than it normally would be because of the show in the center of town.
Okay.
It's mostly laborers coming in to drink their fill and re-energize before they go back to work.
So there's enough room for an invisible lizard folk to move around and not really like bump into anyone.
As long as you're careful.
Excellent.
Then, and is the place where they're seated far enough away from prying ears that we'd be able to converse?
It's not so much as it's far away enough from prying ears as it's fairly loud.
Okay.
You'd have to get a room to have that kind of privacy.
But walking in, I can't immediately hear what they're talking about, even if I focus on their table, can I?
No. If would you like to make a perception check?
I mean, yeah, I would, because I'm just trying to get a feel for what level of volume we should aim for so as not to be just heard by everybody by accident.
So not to spend the time on on rolling and deciphering. It's at kind of a loud talking at one another, kind of concert talking. Nah, that's a bit louder. But if you kind of got close, if you got close and kind of came down to a whisper at the table, everyone could hear you.
Okay, everyone at the table, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, well then I'm going to move into the room. I assume at this time I'm not entirely aware of Roger still being there. I'm going to look around, try to identify a couple people I might ask about this flyer that I still have about the Emerald Terror. And then I'm going to stop sort of behind Isolt's chair and say loud enough to be heard, but without drawing attention from the whole room, and just say, "Excuse me, miss. Could you tell me if you have heard anything about this flyer?" And I'm gonna set it on the table in front of her.
In front of me, Isolt?
Mm-hmm.
She looks it over and says, "I might have. Why don't we take a seat and we can discuss it?"
Excellent. Now, may I ask who I'd be discussing with, I say with an eye toward the older gentleman.
Bran stands immediately and thrusts his hand forward. And he says, "My name is Bran." Wait, hold on.
Stormwind.
Yeah, I was about to say Winterstorm. Like, that's not right. My name is Bran Stormwind, and I believe you should be Johann, yes?
I give, my eye traces a line down his arm to his hand, which I linger on for a second, then I cast a sidelong glance toward Isolde. I say, "Indeed, you are well informed, Mr. Stormwind. It is," and I slowly reach forward and take his hand while measuring him back up to his eyes. "A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Unfortunately, I did not realize we would be meeting today."
Well,
Salt is watching this pissing contest like with extreme amusement.
Well-
Like, oh, gentlemen, boys will be boys and we'll be boys.
well, Johann, count yourself to be lucky then that we could make this meeting soon. I always tend to like to scrutinize the suitors of my sister. After all, our family is one of great renown, and we can't muddy our blood down.
Oh my god, Bran, he's
Suitors.
not a suitor.
Oh.
It's sweet.
Please.
God's above and below. Oh my Bran!
That's Johann. He looks at you with all seriousness, and he gives you, and he kind of gives you that look that he's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to gesture, after breaking the handshake, I'm going to gesture toward his chair. I'll say, "Well, if you would take a seat, we could discuss the specificities of the relationship that your sister and I share."
Oh god, Bran, you don't have to stand at the door with a crossbow for everybody who comes by, number one. And number two, our relationship is really not like that. Though I will say that if you want to get into a philosophical discussion of some merit, sit with Johann for a little bit. You could go for we had the most interesting discussion on deities.
Go on, young lady. I do have some things to ask, however, so I am very glad that we sit down to this threesome here. We should probably get some drinks, though, if we are to be talking long.
He will nod, and he is going to pull a wand from his side. He will wave it a little bit, and he will point next to him, and he'll say, "Drinks, 3. Go on."
And she side-eyes him. She's like, Lee would absolutely murder you if he saw you using magic to get drinks.
Well, Lee isn't here, and I'll tell you now, I could beat Lee in a fight.
Yes, and Lee can brew better beer than you ever could create with magic.
Untrue. But we'll discuss it another time.
Well, at least I should say there's no doubt of the relation between you two.
And there's no doubt with the relation between you two.
Oh, sweet Jesus on a... Oh, no, wait, there is no
There's
Jesus
no
here.
Jesus
She's
in this
like,
world.
that's right.
Jesus is a wonderful cleric. I've known him well.
Oh, all the gods of all the planes above and below and in between.
Now, give me this thing you have put down in front of my dear sister. Perhaps a love note?
I lift it and say, "I think you'll find the penmanship quite exquisite. The wording, however, I was hoping to get your expert help on to win the lady's heart, of course."
Oh, Isolde's over here keeping score. That's one for you, huh?
I mean, as far as he can tell, you're the only one losing. He takes a look at it, and this is the paper about the Emerald Terror.
It is.
And he says, "And what of it?"
Well, I have been asking about trying to ascertain what this creature might be so that we could, deal with the problem, as it were. It has come to my attention that several people in town seem to think our friend Raja might fit the description of this beast, and that is somewhat worrying.
Roger?
Indeed.
as the Emerald Terror?
Well,
Roger wouldn't hurt a fly. He'd sooner sing to it.
I had the opportunity to ask him this question, and his answer was a bit strained. So I believe there is more to tell. I asked him to join us here once he was done with the performance so that we might know the truth of the matter. He did, however, let slip that there were some, in his own words, rough years.
Rough years for Roger. That all I can think is that he slept on gravel.
Well, I am not certain entirely what to think of it. Now, of course, I think the best of all is a friend, but if there's something to be knowing, we should be knowing it.
Fair, I
You
suppose.
might remember what happened with our other colleague and his rough years.
That's a fair point.
So,
Well, to be
not
fair, I've had one rough year. That might come back to haunt me in the future, but
we should probably discuss it if it could come back to haunt you while we're traveling together. Now, I don't wish to get too theoretical. I would like to, however, understand how your brother is doing and what he's doing in town, and it seems that he is a practical wizard, if I don't miss my guess.
He leans forward and he looks to you and he says, Johann, how old is it you are?
I actually have
That
to
is a
check
good
my notes.
question.
I haven't thought about how old my character is in a while. Let's see here. He is 35, and he doesn't see a reason to hide it.
And he says, well, as far as I can tell, so long as you are attached to my dear sister here, you have at least another 30 years of hard years ahead of you. Depending, of course, how intimate your relationship becomes, you may have quite a few impossible years ahead of you.
Bran, your obsession with my private life is a little disconcerting. People are going to start to think really weird things about you.
Well, I'm a
There was that book by that absolute loser that had like those two twins, that had like 3 kids together, and then everybody died. They're going to start to think that you're, what was their name? Loga, Lanny. You know what? They're going to start to think you're one of them.
That book certainly had a happy ending then, but I'm merely an overprotective older brother, I admit. But I feel that it is my duty to warn suitors. But that's here, no there, not for now. You wish to know what I'm doing here, good Johann?
Indeed.
Well, as a future brother-in-law, I would speak openly with you. I am here with a young apprentice wizard. He kind of looks around. He's an absolute brat. Deaton. And we are here. We are chasing down supposedly a scholar or an archivist who has gone mad after reviewing a magical artifact at Candlekeep.
Interesting, and you have reason to believe that this archivist would have come to a backwater such as Green Nest? I think I remember Green Nest being a backwater.
Well, it is simply the closest town that is not Burghost to Candlekeep, and I would think even a mad person would not steal such secrets from Green Nest and head to Baldur's Gate or Elturel. So Green Nest seems to be the most logical place to go next.
And this person, this archivist that read a thing and went mad, was he capable of casting spells? A wizard?
As far as I have been told, yes, quite a bit. Maybe nothing too potent. Maybe just, to my knowledge, just enough that he can identify and be warned of magic things. Nothing too great, I should assume not.
So
Or they would have
not
said
enough
greater.
or not enough to be a threat to the local population.
Well, I don't know.
Hmm.
They didn't tell me enough. They said he merely has secrets, and those secrets are either brought back or taken to the grave.
That is an interesting assignment, especially for this mentee you mentioned, who is a child, it sounded like.
He laughs. In so many ways, yes.
I think I catch your meaning on that. If you don't mind my asking, what is your education in the magical or arcane arts?
I am, of course, my magical school is that of love. I am a detector of it. I can predict whether it will last, and I can create the most potent love potions.
It's like,
You know, that absolutely,
fuck you up.
completely
Take it.
breaks the laws of consent. Like, all of them. All of them.
I got a 24.
All right,
Nice.
you beat him on that one. Yes, he is. You are with a 24. You beat mine by 10. You are to him. You are merely a prop.
He's a
Um,
divination wizard who likes to look at people's dirty laundry. Figuratively, I hope.
Smiles and shrugs.
I see. Now, we had an item, and I say this sort of turning back toward Isolde, that you had mentioned perhaps could enlighten us about, and divination seems like just a school to learn things, yeah?
Oh, I told him about the item.
Indeed.
The sword.
Shh. It's not on us right now. It's back with the ship with Jojo Swift is looking at it.
I kind of like get a little closer, say, you left it with Jojo Swift.
Look, he let me copy his rituals. He let me go through his spell books. Those are
They.
like sacred to wizards. He's fine.
Okay, they.
They.
But how do you know they won't try to attune the sword and then lose their mind as they get abducted by the spirit within it?
Jojo, they're way smarter than that. Now, that
Is
gnome
Jojo
creature.
a wizard?
Yes, they are. And now that gnome creature, I'm less certain about, and the gnome creature, the name I can never seem to remember.
I don't remember.
But
The boy comes down and with a very loud ahem.
oh,
Straighten up and
speak of
look
the
around.
devil.
What did I just hear?
And then she goes, "Speak of the demon."
I have located the rogue person. Hardly an academic. A rogue laborer.
Isolde mutters to Johann in Infernal, "Hey, need a powerful soul?" She just kind of like the subtle nod at the little kid.
There is very, very briefly a malevolent grin crosses his face. And
Bran looks over to the youth and says, "You have found him." "Yes, I have. A cave not too far from town. Should be simple enough for your friends to go to."
your friends,
The journey-
I turn back to. I look at him momentarily, then turn back to Isolde and say, "Did you get us involved in this job?"
I
Bran-
did no such thing.
Bran looks to the youth and he says, "The journey won't be too hard by foot. No, your friend should be fine." And Bran looks-
Excuse me. Hey, little wizard, or little wizard wannabe. You want to prove yourself so much, why don't you go do it yourself? Maybe Bran and, my friends and I can maybe pull up the rear, but how about you just put your pride where your mouth is, and, well, the rest of us can watch the fall. But,
And he looks to you and he says, "Then why don't you put your pride where your mouth is? You seem to put your nose where it's not wanted. Perhaps you should go then."
Oh, little boy, I've already done that.
"Little boy, I'm
100 times
certainly older
over.
than you."
Perhaps
And yet I have done more in my few short years than you have accomplished in... Well, let's put it this way. I've gotten into Candlekeep.
Salt? I say, like, kind of, like, bringing my hands up almost like a warding wall in front of her, like, please stop.
He wrinkles his nose at you, and he says, "And I shall be archived in Candlekeep while you are dust." And Brand slams his head down, his hands down, and he stands and he says, "Then it is decided.
Uh,
Dan, you
I did
will
not
lead.
any
You will
decisions
lead
made.
them. I have made the decision. I am your eldest brother, thus you must respect my decision."
You are my second eldest brother. Lee is the eldest, and he was the smart one that decided to stay home and just brew beer.
Eldest I am, by your omission. Dan, you will take them to this spot. Sister, you and your boyfriend shall lead.
He's not my boyfriend.
And then he looks to you, Johann, and says, "Sorry, pal, better luck next time. Flowers, certainly try. In any case, the sooner that he can be brought down or brought in, sooner we can get to Candlekeep. Sooner," and he looks over to you, "the sooner my skin stays about my body."
You realize that I really don't give a flying fuck about flowers. You know it's books, always.
Do you care about your brother's skin?
I think I'd best go get Roger.
I care about my... Yes, I care about my brother's life and his skin. Can't promise you that I'll care about the little shit over here, but...
Well, then it's agreed. If you care about me and my skin, then you care about the boy. If you care about the boy, you care about what he hunts. Now, I have plenty of work to do. He grabs your notebook off the table, plenty of notes to copy, and he turns and he starts walking up the stairs.
Exactly. What kind of information did he just walk away with?
My journal.
I
That's fine.
imagine it contains a lot of sensitive tidbits about the type of things we've been doing lately, which we would not want getting out until, they can come to fruition.
I
Young-
trust my brother. However, out of character, I'm almost certain that Isolde would have somehow figured out how to protect her journal, but I'm not sure how. Like, in real life, when I didn't want people to read over my shoulder, I'd write in Greg's shorthand because so few people know it nowadays.
Yeah, but
And I have a lot of assholes reading over my shoulder.
But if he's a powerful wizard, he can just use comprehend languages.
Exactly. So he'd be fine. But the average person who picks it up, less so.
Sure, but back in character, you may trust your brother, but I do not.
That's fair. You don't know him, and he is being a real dick to you.
And I do mean that without malice.
Oh no, I completely understand. Especially if you knew us as kids. Nobody trusted us, and for good reason.
Deanan looks to you and looks to the two of you and says, "Well, if you're done with your flirtations, go fetch your friend and we'll be on our way."
You don't give
get out
orders
of
around
this.
here, you little shit.
Well, as far as I can tell, if you care about your brother, then you care about me. And I say it's time to go.
I care about your life, I don't care about your sanity.
Then I will be on my way.
I feel that I have been left out of an important part of the conversation here. I have not had the pleasure of making your acquaintance, Mr.
I am Deanan Gilrona. Gilrona is what? Gilrona. Deanan Gilrona.
Enan Gilrona. Well, and I extend a hand to him. I imagine he's slightly shorter than me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. He gives you a polite bow.
I am Father Johann, and it seems that I have been contracted into your services, so you should know that I am a cleric, and I have the powers of healing and divination somewhat myself. So if there's any way that I can help expedite this job, I am, of course, at your disposal.
Well, hail and well met, good cleric. I see for whom you work, and know that I have no qualms.
As everything in this world is simply give and take, there will be given and there will be taken.
Well, I agree. I will be giving instructions, and you all will be taking them to the benefit of our group.
Just blink at him and smile and say, "Of course. Now, if you'll just give me a moment to fetch our final friend, I will meet you outside this establishment."
I will go to my room and make ready, and I will be out in 10.
Excellent, excellent. I let him depart.
I could murder that little shit.
It would probably be best if you didn't.
As soon as the,
I
as soon as
know, I
the
don't want
kid's
to get my
gone-
brother into trouble.
Oh, hold
Hold
on.
on.
I think Roger said something.
Yeah, what'd you say, Roger?
As soon as the kid's gone, I'm just gonna whisper. So we're getting rid of him, right?
And Isolde doesn't even flinch.
I do.
And she's like, tempting, but I do really like my brother's skin on his body. And besides, the Arcane Brotherhood is nearly as creative as the Thavian wizards when it comes to punishment.
Just gonna whisper, "Roger, have you been here the entire time?"
Physically, yes. Mentally, about half.
Excellent. Then there is little that needs to be explained. Apparently, we've been contracted by Isolde's brother to help this uppity little shit, and with that, assumably for pay.
Oh, it had better be for pay.
You
I'm done doing that fucker any favors.
At some point, I will really have to explain to you the benefit of getting things in writing.
Oh, believe me, I understand. However, I also have an entire lifetime's worth of dirt on that man. And as much as I hate the little shit, I have zero qualms about telling him some of Bran's most embarrassing, humiliating, outright excruciating stories, and the threat of that will make my brother pay us. Remember, I grew up with him. He may be my brother, but I'm his sister.
With this, the youth comes down, and his pack is ready, and he looks to the three of you and says, "So, you've acquired some sort of riding lizard?"
Excuse you. This is Roger, and you will treat him with respect.
Roger just growls.
I think that's the first time Isolde has seen Roger angry.
Yep.
Temperamental. My apologies, good thing.
He is a bard of great skill, and you would do well to treat him with respect.
Perhaps,
I'll not have your bigotry ruin this expedition.
perhaps we can tone things down to be a little less antagonistic. Mr. Deanon, if you would, this is our friend, and do please treat him with the same respect you would myself or your mentor. And then finally, let us get this underway.
Do you want to throw a little bit of weight behind that? Do you want to make an intimidation check?
I was hoping persuasion.
Roger's gonna give a nice big, toothy smile. Have a little bit of drool, falling down.
I'll take an intimidation check from Roger.
Okay.
Deal. Oh damn.
I was purposefully trying.
23.
Nice.
Okay. With that big toothy grin, the boy sees something that he is not so used to seeing. That is the razor sharp maw of a predator. And there is a flash over his eyes of recognition, and he says, "My apologies, good bard. Perhaps you will entertain us as we embark on our journey."
You're lucky.
And perhaps one day you will hear great tales of my magics. In fact, I may tell you of some as we walk.
Really? The same tales of magic that didn't get you into Candlekeep?
Isolde. I think
He
we've
just
had enough of the Bob trading.
Oh, but it's so easy.
he hikes his nose up and he heads for the exit.
Please.
It really wasn't.
I know. I'm entirely on your side in that he is insufferable, but we do need to get through this sane.
She just kind of
So-
mutters to herself as she follows. I got into Candlekeep.
I'm
So as you've got him outside, he is standing in the street, kind of looking back and forth, and he pulls out a compass in one hand, and in the other he pulls out another compass. He kind of taps them together and puts the one in his put the left hand into a left pocket. He holds this up, and you see the compass needle beginning to spin until it points south. And he says, "Onward to the hunt."
onward.
Just gonna make sure his hood's up, and he'll kind of try and lag behind and kind of stay behind everybody.
You gotta do the good old fashioned tuck of your tail,
Yep.
tuck it between your legs, tape it to your thigh.
Yep.
Oh, good.
Oh my god.
Lizard, no
Ow.
problem. So with
God, that sounds so painful.
that, it is. So as you go through town, you see that the first show has wrapped up, and you see that they're holding out their well-appointed hats, and people are throwing coppers and silvers in there, and the crew you see is smiling wide, acting more civil than you have seen them in days, and they're
That's impressive.
they kind of go back together, and you can see that they're loading up for their next showing. You know that come evening, everything will be returned, and they're going to come back, the drunken sailors in full force that they are.
Let's try to be back here before they get to that point.
But you're eventually led to the south of town, the great keep cutting an impressive figure in the afternoon sky, and the walk takes you through some pretty tall grass. You can see not too far off in the distance what looks like two drake riders moving south and east of where you're at. You can see that they have bows on their back as if they're meaning to go out and hunt. But it's otherwise a fairly peaceful walk. It'll be nearly 2 hours before you leave these grasslands and hit what looks like dry ground with heavy rocks, with heavy rocky terrain, great sized boulders that seem to just be hanging off one another as if they weren't placed there, as if they were seemingly dropped. And the lad leads you a little bit more east from there, and you eventually find that the ground slopes down to a great natural quarry. He snaps it down and he says, "That would be the place that we're looking for."
I'm looking down into this rock quarry.
And it seems like it has been cleaned out. There are no rocks. It is fairly usable ground. But in the farthest back, there seems to be a cave.
And it is... You said it took like an hour to get here?
Took about 2 hours.
2 hours. So it's like mid-afternoon right now?
Probably about 4 o'clock.
Okay. Early. Okay. And your compass spell there told you this is where we'd find the one we're looking for?
Yes, I divined this position from the skies, and I honed this compass to the position I divined.
That is some impressive spell work there.
Thank you.
Now then, do you know, what it is exactly we should expect to find in there if he is alone, and then, even if he is, what he is? As in, is he a human or an elf or a troll?
Well, it is my understanding that there is something about this cave that kept my divination off him entirely, as much as I could divine the area around the area that is, without divination.
Your divination spells were blocked by something.
Yes, yep.
I turn to Isolde, I say, and Roger, I say, I'm getting somewhat of that bad feeling in the back of my neck.
You're not the only one.
There's only a few ways to stop divination finding you. Alright. Now, it was that, oh, God, my brain hasn't been holding on to names at all today. What was the brother's name? Bran. Your mentor, Bran, indicated that he was uncertain the level of expertise this man had with spellcraft. Is that the same for you?
Yes. In fact, I would be willing to say that whomever is in this cave is less a spellcaster than I.
You would say that about any spellcaster you came across.
And I would be right.
Isolde highly doubts that, but actually, can she roll an insight check on how much of this is just bravado and how actually maybe terrified this little shit is?
Go ahead and roll an insight.
Alrighty, let's go with
Man,
one of my...
Combat has really got to turn around for me, you
Ouch.
guys. You beat me.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. 10.
A 2.
Oh, well. It's insight
can-
against what, his deception?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Or persuasion, whichever I cared for. He believes it. He certainly believes it.
So he's,
Illusion.
so he's a Covidiot.
So, why don't we determine a strategy? I think that this situation would benefit from that. Bring the person out here. I was informed that dead or alive is the case. Bring them back if alive. No need if dead. Is that the same information you were given there, Deanon?
To my recollection, it was bring him back alive or have him take the secrets to the grave.
Very well. So perhaps it would be best if we could get him out of the cave and into a position of weakness among the four of us and have a plan for what type of disabling spell work we might be able to put in place.
He kind of scratches at his chin and he says, well, I think we should go in and I think we should cast our mighty magic against him. He will bend to it and we will give him a chance to live.
Child.
Within the cave, he has the advantage as he knows what's in there and we do not. So,
To be fair, he will be very surprised that we're fighting him in his cave.
I
So
love that logic. That is exactly the right logic.
I just blink at
actually
Roger. Like,
that's fair logic. So as rituals, I have unseen servant. I could probably get it to make noise outside the cave. But I don't know that the dude would come investigate. I should have taken minor illusion and caused a fire or something in the back of the cave. Plus, it's only 60 feet away from me before the spell ends. I could always mage hand throw rocks at the entrance, but the thing is, I have hold person, so once he gets out of there, I could cast that.
So, you are a pretty good distance away. Perhaps you'd like to start with a little bit of recon before you try and devise your whole plan without knowing.
Yeah,
That's probably it. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of a good way to Oh, wait. Roger can go invisible. How many more times can you do that?
A decent amount. I can do that. Yeah.
And then is your stealth? Well, yeah, your stealth is greatly invisible, so long as you don't make noise.
Stealth is +7.
Oh, well then. Roger, I don't suppose you'd mind doing a little bit of recon.
Deal. And I'll go boop, and I'll boop his nose, and I'll go invisible.
She said, "Oh wait, oh shoot." I'm trying to think if there's a way that you can like message us if you're in trouble.
Oh, you'll know when I'm in trouble.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, you will. I'm in trouble.
Here we
Where's
go.
my
All right. Let's see. What is the duration on this? Up to 1 hour, and I can move it. Okay. So it. Excuse me, my brain is breaking at the moment. Roger's gonna go invisible. I'm going to cast the 4th level spell, Arcane Eye.
Nice.
Okay. Where are you putting that eye?
Well, it can appear anywhere within 30 feet of me, and then on every turn I can move it up to an additional 30 feet, and there is no limit to how far away it can be. Let's see, you mentally receive visual information, which has normal vision and dark vision out to 30 feet, and can look in every direction. So...
All right, so here's how this is going to go. With that and your continuous movement of it, the two of you are going to reach this cave. So immediately as the two of you come to this cave, you both follow down into this darkness. It is to this point, it is light. Arcane Eye, I believe, does have dark vision. Roger, do you have dark vision?
Oh no.
Wait, you're a lizard folk, shouldn't you?
Dragonborn don't have dark vision. I don't know about lizard folk.
I don't have it. I have hold breath.
Well, good. Hold your breath the whole time. To this point, you have seen or heard anything. But if you continue further, and you can see one of two paths, there is a path to your right that seems to squeeze into a narrow, almost, it's about the size of somebody walking sideways, or there is a much larger path that leads deeper into the cave. In either scenario, it will be soon pitch dark.
Excellent. All right. Before I enter the cave, I'm going to pull out my bag of tricks. I'm going to throw a little fuzzy object onto the ground and hope I get something good.
I was gonna say my stealth is shit, but I have devil sight.
All right.
I'm just like sitting cross-legged on the ground outside the cave, like meditating on what I'm seeing through the arcane eye. So as soon as he pulls out the bag of tricks and tosses it on the ground, I'm going to report to the two people next to me. He's going for the bag of tricks. Maybe it'll give him something interesting.
You see an owl pop up.
Oh,
That'll be helpful. He pulled out an owl.
Hell yeah. And I'll have the owl just kind of fly into the larger path first.
okay.
Going a little bit. And see if anything happens.
And where do you want, and Shag, where do you want your eye to go?
I'm going to keep my eye probably about 25 feet ahead of Roger, so that Roger's always in view of the eye, and so that I can get a little bit of foreknowledge in case something might be there waiting for him.
All right. So the owl is going to start flapping forward. It starts to descend further and further, and it seems to be gone for maybe about 5 minutes before you hear a great screech and a massive rumbling. A great black cloud descends from the back of the cave. A rush of wind comes. And Roger, I need you to give me a strength saving throw.
I'll just say, that's not good.
Uh-oh. That's a 6.
With a 6, you are slammed into by what feels like 100 wiggling, leathery, and sharpened claws as a mass herd of bats fly from this cave. You're going to take 3 points of slashing damage.
That's rough. All right.
Now, the magic eye is invisible, but it does not say that it's incorporeal.
Unless it has any kind of hit points or anything, then
It doesn't.
Yeah, then it is.
We're gonna have to hurry this up because we only have like 45 minutes left.
Yeah. So your owl unfortunately was torn to shreds.
Ooh, poor thing.
Oh.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Poor owl friend. All right. Well, now since the danger's gone, I think it was just bad sound that way. Roger's gonna go into the cave and just slowly make his way towards the right in that smaller path, and see how far he can get before he gets scared.
Okay. As you start heading towards that path, it narrows entirely. And are you following Johann?
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping the eye with him so that I know what's going on with him and I'm reporting it to the people near me.
Okay. As you start crawling, this cave, this passage gets narrower and narrower until you're coming to the point that your chest and your back and your tail is roughly scraping across the side. This will eventually lead you into a space. Though you are completely blind, it opens up significantly, and it seems like you've come into a room. Roll me a perception check.
Disadvantage because of no sight, or
This
If it's-
is going to be a hearing-based perception
okay.
check.
Thank God. 19.
With the 19, you hear what sounds like jagged claws scraping into stone and what sounds like rough, almost guttural muttering, just like a scratching.
So the eye sees Roger stop and begin listening, but I can't hear anything through the eye. Can I see anything?
Nothing in this room. However, with the eye, you see there is a ladder going down at the end of this room.
Oh, boy. Trying to see if I have any way to quickly... Feather falling.
For the time being, Roger's going to very, very, very carefully just kind of feel his way around the room, like kind of have the wall as a guide.
I didn't prepare sending.
Okay.
Oh no!
give me a dexterity saving throw as you come to this ledge.
13.
Okay, with the 13, you feel one of your feet go over the edge, and as your weight begins to shift, you're able to pull it back.
Cool. And what about that sound I was hearing?
There seems to be a deeper part of the cave in there that Roger's come to. Got a ladder headed down. He stopped to listen to something, but I don't know what. It's a snake's way to get there, but it seems like he's about to need our help.
Roger, what is it you said?
Am I still hearing that weird sound? Like, does
Yes.
it sound like it's getting closer? Does it sound like it's staying put?
It sounds like you're getting closer to it.
Does it sound like it's coming from below me?
Yes.
Hang on. Nope, okay. He's rolling his intelligence there. He's going to get very curious, and he's going to cast Light. He's going to hope for the best.
As you cast light, the whole room lights up and you can see the ladder. The ladder descends for a pretty decent way down, but in the kind of rim of the light, you can see the floor. and you can see around in the room where you're at. This looks like this has like a couple broken racks that looks like weapon racks or clothes racks. It looks like somebody once lived in this cave.
Seeing anything that's making noises?
Nothing in this room that appears to be making noises. Do
Excellent.
you want
Go
to
ahead.
climb down?
Of course.
All right.
He's
Well, he rolled-
climbing down the ladder.
I rolled a 3 for his intelligence, so
It
that's good.
looks like that something used to live in this cave. There may be another way in and out.
So, Roger,
Mhm.
as you descend down, you eventually come past an overhang. And through that overhang, you see what looks like strange burning candles. They seem to have black flame and cast a purple light coming through another small room. But in the room behind that, you see a pillar. And the sound and scratching seems to come from there. But those black flames and purple light doesn't really illuminate much more than you can see now.
Mhm. Alright. Right, I'm gonna investigate that sound. Just very cautiously.
All right, do you want to roll stealth?
Yes, please, even though I have a light on. That's gonna be a 12.
Roger's got trouble.
Did you extinguish your light, or do you still have it going?
It's still going.
Okay, fair enough. So your stealth is kind of pointless at that point.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the honesty and that your character didn't think that much about it.
Nope.
I'm going to throw some inspiration your way.
Oh, thank you.
You're going to need it. As you go further in, you see this greatly hunched person. You can see what looks like bones jutting from his back, and he's just humped forward, and his head seems to have kind of cracked backwards as to kind of compensate for his lower perspective. You can see that his arms have grown long and his fingers have seemingly melded together to create great nail-like claws at the end. You can see a kind of a great glowing of green coming from his face that has only now just turned to you to reveal one massive eye in the middle. Around him, you see carvings on the walls to the floor. And on those walls and floor, you see what looks like to be beautifully rendered and carved depictions of dragons.
I recognize these?
You can at least recognize these as dragons. However, the creature turns to you and recognizes you and says, You lizard, you will work for me. And
Thank you.
I need, let's see, I believe I need a wisdom saving throw for charm person.
Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna send this in the chat real quick. Oop.
How do I go back? Oh, here it is. I don't know how to see the chat.
If you go to the text channels general, but I don't see anything new.
Yeah,
Yeah, the wisdom.
I do see gonna eat a kid
Oh,
today.
there it
Oh,
is.
that didn't show up. Oh, yeah,
Nope, there it is. It just showed up.
I don't think you can see
Okay.
it though.
Is that a nat 20?
But it
looks
is a
like
nat
it's supposed
20.
to be a nat 20.
Yeah.
Okay. With a natural 20, he sees that his spell has not taken hold, and he lets out a and he is going to he's fixing to charge at you. Roll initiative.
That's fantastic.
I'll take it from everybody else too.
That's gonna be an 11.
Now,
Woohoo!
as a bard, you get to add your dex and half of your proficiency.
Oh, jack of all trades.
I forgot about that. Alright.
Oh my god, my die fell on the floor and landed on a natural 20.
Nice.
So I'm still gonna get 12.
So I'm going to be a 21.
I'm last.
That's good. Last is a good place to be as a cleric.
That's a good point.
Yeah, Roger's in trouble and he's not going to lure that thing out to us, so we're going to have to go to him.
All right. So if I double move, also I have Devil's Sight, so I have no problems here. How far can I get with a double move?
Would be your speed twice.
Well, so 60 feet, but 60 feet into the cave is like,
As far as I know, you guys are pretty far out of the cave.
Yeah, we were right
Yeah.
out by the entrance, like out in the daylight.
so Isolta's gonna like sprint into the cave as far as 60 feet.
I'm just going to shout after you, take a right and go down the narrow path.
Got it.
Okay, so Isolt, as you go running off, as you go just a full sprint down, that is going to go to the young spellcaster. He is going. Oh crap! I can't do that. He is all right. Well, fuck it, he's gonna do it anyways. He is going to cast onto himself, and he is going to say, "Hopefully, we'll leave something left in there for you, old man." And he is going to take off at a fantastic speed. He is going to move at 90 feet around, so he is going to pass Jasalt.
Little shit just cast haste, didn't he?
Something like that. I don't need to tell you. I don't need to keep for you guys. Expeditious retreat.
Expeditious retreat. Close enough.
All right.
Save any for
That
me.
is then going. That is. I thought I could cast it on you, but it's a self spell.
Yeah,
only.
yeah. I know.
Hey, really? Huh.
So the creature is going to come bounding up to you, seeing that you have been able to resist his spell. And in this great big eye, Roger, on the look on his face, you can tell that there is an intelligence, but as he goes charging, you can see that intelligence almost fade away into something furious. He is first going to try and claw at you. Ooh, a 19 at base.
I hope
And
that's
then
gonna
he's
hit.
going to doesn't hit. He's going to claw at you again, and he's going to miss catastrophically. You are going to take 6 points of slashing damage as he first connects with you, and seeming to snap back to his mind, he pulls the claw back and rakes against the solid stone. That is actually then going to go to Roger.
Oh Lord. I'm gonna cast polymorph at him.
Okay, what kind of check does he need?
Wisdom saving throw.
All right, wisdom save. 4.
I'm at 15.
Okay. Wait, let me take a quick look.
Yeah.
Nothing against it. Okay, so with that, you just kind of jump back. You play a discordant tune. What do you turn him into?
Oh Lord. A small lizard.
Okay, and he just kind of goes and becomes a small lizard.
Excellent. Can I hold him in one hand and my light in the other, and just go look at the dragons on the wall?
Yes. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
13.
With a 13, you recognize these both to be depictions of Tiamat, but you see most favorited in these depictions is the head of the black dragon.
Okay.
As for the carvings on the ground, you did not roll high enough to understand them.
Okay, deal.
Okay. How long does polymorph last? It's like an hour. Okay. So essentially, with this, we're going to say that it's going to take the rest of the party about 3 rounds to get to you, and 2 rounds for the kid. So back to the top of the order is movement. That is going to go to the creature. The creature is going to attempt to bite your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And even just I'm just going to look up the stats because I have a 12, and I doubt a lizard has +3 to even meet. HIJKL. It has +0, so it starts nibbling on your fingers.
Oh,
No.
it's adorable. Can I like snap at it with my teeth to like intimidate it, just to calm the fuck down?
It is your turn, so if you'd like to.
Excellent. That's only like an 11.
Okay. It calms down.
Cool.
Oh, I'm fucking dumb. Oh well.
What's up?
So nothing. Don't worry about it.
Deal.
That's the attitude I was looking for. Okay. That is going to take us down to everybody moving. That takes us back up to the top. And the kid is going to arrive in a blur, and he's going to look to you, and he's going to say, "Bard, where is the fiend?"
I won't look at him, but I'll just hold back the lizard. But here you go.
He's going to reach out, take it in his hand, and he's going to look at it, and he's going to say, "A spell of polymorph?"
Yeah, no big, man.
And he just kind of nods. And he looks to you and he says, "We must do something else. It took us more than an hour to get here."
Look, man,
And-
I came up with the first half. But like, you do magic or something. I don't know.
And he just nods, says, "Fine. A plan I have.
That's good.
Yes. Here's what we'll do. He is going to... He's going to take out like a small book, and he's going to place the little thing in the book and kind of drop the book down on its back. Not enough to hurt it, but enough to pin it. And he's going to place it across the room, and he starts kind of rubbing his hands together, and he starts conjuring some magic. And he says, "I'm going to cast a spell so devastating that it will not only defeat your polymorph, but kill the creature as it stands."
Can I then cast hold person on this little shit?
You are a whole sprint behind him.
Shit. Well, hold person or counter spell was gonna be
Devil's Sight is out to 90 feet, right?
120. I thought.
I couldn't remember. I was actually asking.
Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it's 120, and also through magical darkness.
It is through it. I just wanted to know, like, even if you aren't standing next to him, you might be able to see him from a distance.
True, except that he's also down the ladder.
Okay.
He's also yeah.
If he's around a corner, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
Oh,
120 feet.
Okay, cool.
He stands. Yeah, he has a great amount of energy that he begins to pull between his hands. He raises it up and he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a shot glass, and with a great call, he slams his hands together and he casts a devastating shatter spell on the creature.
Oh, wait a minute. But if he does that, it just reverts.
Yeah, it's, he's going to make things worse. That's the point.
Oh. Well.
All right, well, the creature gets a chance to... Now, what he's trying... Now, again, his plan is to cast a spell so devastating. There's just, for as far as he knows, there's just a guy underneath this.
Oh.
So conceptually, what he thinks is there's a librarian underneath this, and all he has to do is use enough magic to kill a lizard, and then enough magic to kill a regular person.
Oh, honey, that's so cute.
Okay. Actually, the lizard will fail it. So, Roger,
Mm-hmm.
would you do me a favor? And I'm going to need you to roll some dice for the shatter.
What is it, 3d8?
3d8, please.
14.
Solid damage. Good job, kid.
Yay!
See,
Oh,
he's not so Bell. Denon's not so bad. He's doing good work. 14, that's going to be this number. As the book turns to shreds, the polymorph reverses, and he is like, "The 9 hells, what is that?" And the creature is like, "Fool!" Then that is going to go from the kid to the creature. And it is going to point a finger. He's going to point his fingy.
Oh boy.
And I'm going to use a spell I've never used before. Let me see.
Oh no.
Okay, that's interesting. All right. And he is going to point his finger at you, and
Oh no.
he is
Finger
going
of death, isn't it?
Finger of doom. And he is going to come sprinting across the room directly at the boy, flinging his claws, but that is going to end his turn. And that is going to take us to Roger.
You little shit.
And he says, "I didn't know. You should have said it wasn't just some librarian. You should have said it was whatever the fuck this is."
Yeah, well, that little shit kid should have thought of that first.
How close are those two together?
This thing's closing in, and it's got about another 20 feet before it reaches him.
Damn, so the shatter can't get them both, right?
No.
That's a shame.
Well, maybe if you want to kill the kid.
Like what happens in this cave?
I didn't see
was
it.
an
My
actor.
magic eye saw it, but I didn't see it.
he fell down the ladder, you know.
Shattered all of his bones.
I'm gonna hate this kid. I'm gonna cast a hypnotic pattern, or I'm gonna move up so that I can cast hypnotic pattern at both of them.
Okay.
Oh no, you still have your light source.
Yep. 30-foot cube. Wisdom saving throw.
Okay. The kid just fails. As he's like, "It's the creature seems to be unaffected.
You know what? I'm still okay with this.
At least the kid's gonna die not knowing.
Carry on, creature.
Wow! I'm
right.
glad I
You
can't
want to
hear
do anything with
anything
your
from.
bonus action? Do
Sorry, what was that?
you want to do anything with your bonus action?
Inspire the creature. No, I'm done.
I thought you said it was going to be less dark when we had our bard.
I just haven't. Go on.
All right, that is going to take us up to Ysault. And with
Hold on.
your movement...
Hey.
Oh, Johann, you're right. Sorry, Johann. Yes, Johann.
So I have to try and find my way through this cave. I can move up to 60 feet if I sprint, but I don't have dark vision.
As far as it's known, you know the movements of the cave,
Okay.
and you know how to move through the cave. You're okay.
Okay.
Both of you know enough of the layout of the cave that you have moved without issue through the cave. With 30 feet of movement, you can see into the room, but you can't move into it. You can only see.
So I'm caught up with assaults at this point?
Actually, you and Yasalt would be in the same range.
Yeah.
So both of you can see, can basically see to the best of your ability. Let's see. No, you couldn't in the last room. So you'll need one more turn to sprint into you until you can see the room.
Right. At any time, am I able to focus my attention on what the arcane eye is seeing so that I can know what's up?
I mean, you're basically running blind anyways.
Right. I just wonder, like, even once I'm in the room, then I can just, oh, he's got his light. That doesn't matter. Okay. I was like, I can bring the eye back to me, and then it can be my eyes. But, any event. Yeah, so I'm with Isolde, and we are heading there. That's all I needed to know.
Okay, so on this turn, the two of you arrive. Yasalt, with the last bit of your 30 feet of movement, you arrive in the room. The kid is 10 feet in front of you. He seems to be dazed pretty bad. 15 feet to his right is Roger, who seems to just finished casting a spell, looking satisfied with what he's done. And this hunched over monster of some sort of human being is running forward, growling gutturally at the kid.
Oh, you dumb shit. So, Lord have mercy. She is going to, crud. Does that thing count as a person or a monster?
This is a monster now.
So I cannot the hold person ain't gonna do shit on him.
No, he's too far gone.
Okay. Boy. Well. I'm thinking. I'm going to. The problem is there's no real spell that does non-lethal damage, is there?
You're gonna need to do something here.
She is going to just Eldritch Blast.
All right, you've got two of those. Go ahead and make your first attack.
Yep. So, 15.
15. It passes right through the creature, dispelling its illusion.
Okay. And what is it now, then?
The room is empty now. The room is you, the kid, and Roger.
Where'd it go?
So, anything else on your turn?
No, but I'm going to turn to the kid and be like, I don't suppose you know why that happened.
The kid looks totally zoned out. Eyes are glazed over, has no focus on anything.
Oh, shit. $10 says he's possessed.
So
she's 30 feet ahead of me?
That is going to take us to Roger.
So you said the thing was gone?
Apparently so.
All right,
And yet.
that sucks. All right, I'll release the kid from being dazed. I'll drop my concentration on that.
Oh, you dazed him. Okay. Phew.
He was being a shit.
Fair.
Do you want to do anything with your action or movement? Bonus action?
Just look around. see if I can figure out where this creature went.
As you look around, you see that there is a small passage off to the right and the left near the back of the room.
Then I'll just head that way, like begrudgingly.
Right or left?
Good adventurers go left, so that way.
Okay. As you start moving down that way, you see that it is again pitch dark. But it seems to be a small tunnel that leads far off and basically far off east to into the cave.
Okay. I'll at least start that way and just see if I can see any tracks.
Roll me a survival check.
13.
13. You actually see what looks like its claw marks as it seems to have fled down that way.
And they seem pretty fresh, I guess.
As far as you can tell, yes.
All right, cool. I'll say maybe he went this way. I don't know. Let's wait for everyone to kind of catch up.
Okay. Johann, you will arrive in the room. The kid has just shaken his head. And you hear Roger reporting that it might have fled in the direction he's facing.
Okay. I will move to. Well, I guess I'm out of movement, or can I sprint?
You can sprint now, yes.
Okay. I would like to sprint to follow Roger, and then I can use my action to move the arcane eye down the other hallway.
Okay. The other hallway takes you to a rounded chamber that is a dead end.
Okay. And there's nothing in it, according to my dark vision eye.
Nothing that is obviously standing out.
Okay. Then on my next turn, I'll bring it back to me. But that is here nor there.
All right. You find yourself in the tunnel, and you have been pointed out to the tracks. That is going to take us back up to Yasal.
They're following tracks.
Apparently, yes.
I'm gonna follow them.
Okay. It is going to be your movement that gets you up near them because you're in the room. What would you like to do further?
I don't really have any divination spells or anything, so I'm just gonna... Oh, I never cast my second Eldritch Blast, but that's okay. I can't run and ready in action, can I? Probably not.
No.
All right. So I'm just gonna keep running and following you.
All right. So we'll say as a group, you can move through this. You can move through this cavern, and you see move through the small tunnel, and you see that it leads to a larger cavern. It looks like it's 2 floors, and off to the right, you see that there is another passage down.
All right, cool. I'll just keep going. Unless anyone wants to like stop and take the lead.
Do we have to roll a survival check to try and continue following the tracks, or?
Well, without any further actually, you know what? Roll me a perception check.
Back to our person with devil sight, I have no dark vision.
I have +5. So that's going to be a 23 perception.
Okay. As you kind of look down that more narrow passage that's leading further down, you see what looks like a flick of movement, and it seems to be going around that corner. It looks like you've caught sight of it.
Isolde points in the direction that she saw the movement and continues to run.
Was it down the hole, or was it down another passage?
Down another passage.
Passage, okay. Then, yes. Then we follow her now.
So, more or less, you guys are a fair distance behind it. You eventually come out around the corner into what looks like the caved area that the bats had come in, that the bird, that the, what's the word, owl, unfortunately met its demise in. And you see that it seems to be running through that for the entrance. As the cave loops around in this direction.
Can I see it?
Yes, you can see it tearing across the ground.
What is it?
It seems to be like a hunched over, clawed humanoid.
But it is a humanoid.
It appears to be humanoid.
Is it in... What's the range of this stupid thing? I haven't cast it in so long.
How far away is it?
It's probably got about 60 feet on you guys.
That's all I need. I need it. If it's humanoid, I'm gonna try it. I need him to make a wisdom saving throw. DC 15.
What spell is it?
Hold person. And it specifically says choose a humanoid that you can see within range, which is 60 feet.
It looks humanoid, but it is not humanoid.
Okay, well there goes a spell slot.
Yeah, it was a human. It was a human, but it's transformed to something beyond.
Aberrant, one might say.
And you can close the distance with the rest of your movement 30 feet if you want.
I am gonna do that. And it's a shame I don't have any strength, or I'd make a flying leap and try to tackle it.
Okay. The kid is going to... kid's going to try and cast a firebolt at it. And it'll fucking explode against the wall. I rolled a 4 for the lad. So he has an 8 total. It just... that is going to go to the creature. That is going to continue a sprint, which is going to take it near the entrance. And its turn, Roger. Actually, let me take that back. I'm going to cut to the big reveal of my plan. It is going to move 30 feet and disappear. I was waiting to hit a decent enough corner to hit you guys with the disappearing act. But as it comes to the entrance, it disappears.
Like teleports or goes invisible?
You don't know. Disappears.
Vanish.
Crap.
The kid's like, go after it! What are you doing?
I smack the kid in the back of the head so you let it get away.
He's like, I let it get away. I am an apprentice. You are adventurers. You let it get away.
Weren't you the one who was saying earlier that you were leading us and giving orders? What is it? Your successes are all attributed to you and your failures are all attributed to us? That's
Alright.
not a logical scenario.
Alright, children. That's enough of that. Fact of the matter is, we do not know enough about this creature to track it. We don't know what it's capable of. We don't know how powerful it is. We don't know what it takes to take it down. And what are we going to do with it once we have it?
Well, as far as I can see, it got away.
Not yet, it hasn't. Can we try and... Can we see if there's any tracks from where it vanished?
Moving up to where its tracks are, go ahead and roll me a investigation check, or, well, it would be a survival or investigation, whichever you care for.
I failed, whatever it was.
Okay.
Now, Deanon, was there a book this thing was supposed to have with it that it read that caused this to occur?
Well, they said that it left with paperwork, some notes. We might go back and check the cave for it.
What kind of book did you throw on it?
Oh, it was a blank journal I was planning to go and write notes in.
God, I hope so.
The objects that it left the archive with, can you describe any of them in exacting detail?
No, we came after, like, this guy was gone for 2 days before we arrived. We just told he left with this stuff.
Oh, well, did you see how he was dressed? Was he wearing any kind of clothing?
We didn't see him at all. When we got to Candlekeep, he was 2 days gone.
I mean, the creature you saw just now.
Oh. Black robes, fairly standard.
Through the arcane eye, did I see anything really telling, like some kind of anything about the clothing that is actually, like, distinctive?
I'm gonna say no. As bad as its transformation has been, it's torn the clothes to anything beyond recognition.
I mean, that could be enough. Torn
Right.
clothes beyond recognition.
However, we are running to the end of our time,
Mhm.
and hopefully our next session will be the one back at the main storyline,
Mhm.
and that's okay because you guys head back into the cave. You find a lot of the notes that were dropped. Further investigation on the notes, you see that these are a lot of notes on the rod of many the rod of many parts, which
Oh, I was afraid of that.
looking for. It appears that this individual, whom you find out the name is Bellamy Rumshackle, has been doing the research on. And unfortunately, he has also taken a lot of notes and begun to inscribe a summoning circle of demons, as if he meant to summon a demon.
Isolde wipes that out like mad.
It's carved into the stone.
Can I Eldritch Blast the stone?
It would take some time, but indeed you can. But for the most part, you are able to the best of your ability, purge that stone carving from the walls, the floor.
Can I
You
cast
grab
Shatter at it just to help?
perfect. That's a
Shatter
yes.
would do it perfectly.
That would work. Yes, very well.
Wait, do I have Shatter? I don't think I do.
But
do
you are
not.
able to purge the cave, gather up the notes. The kid very hungrily picks these notes up, and what ones he gets, he pours over them. He just reading them, gives you his compass so you can lead them back, and just wants to pour over these notes and see what interesting things this manic thing had developed.
So there were 2 compasses, right?
Yes,
And he gave us one of them.
yes, he
Can I try and
gave
steal the other one?
the other
Because it
one
was
was
in his left pocket.
the other one was a regular compass.
Ah, damn. Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't.
this one points to the location.
Okay, gotcha. Never mind.
I don't think these are the kind of notes anyone should be reading.
He says, "Well, that's the
Isolde,
difference. That's the difference between a cleric and a priest. A cleric and a wizard. You see, there's nothing we shouldn't read.
Isolde plucks the notes out of his hand.
Okay.
She's like,
sleight of, that's
sleight
fine.
of hand.
No, yeah, go ahead. Give me a sleight of hand, and he is going to sleight of hand against it.
Okay, my sleight of hand is terrible, but
Ooh, 19.
19 plus 1 is 20. Dirty 20.
Damn. Just like an older sister, you just barely beat him. You swipe. Go ahead.
I was going to say she's older than her Riplet brothers by like 2 minutes, so technically, no, I'm kidding.
So you swipe those from his hand, and he is very displeased. But you're able to arrive back at Green Nest as the evening has fallen, and you can see now that the crew that you have been traveling with is now just kind of working their way into the bar, very excited to put their earnings to good use. There you see sitting at the table is Bran. He stands and he smiles. He sees that the young apprentice has his arms covered over his chest and has a very pouty sneer. And he comes up to you, Isolde, and says, "No luck then today."
To me, he says that. Oh, Bran. He's like, well, we got the notes, and I'll be having my journal back so I can copy them before you have them.
And payment.
He says, "Your journal, of course. I added a few notes to it. Some fixed grammar, spelling errors. Fixed all those for you. But as far as payment goes, unfortunately, my hands are tied of this moment. and it has been such tradition in the house is that Yasalt is the one who always takes care of the financial means. She's so smart and good with money. Speak with her about it.
So Isolde then, she just kind of stares at her brother with a tilt of her head and starts a slow grin. And then she turns to Demon. She's like, would you like to hear some stories about Bran when he was younger?
And he is going to quickly gesticulate and drop a cone of silence.
Isolde, can I counterspell?
He's got, and here we go. And here's what it's all been leading up to.
I am
He's gotta
just giving Bran the iciest stare ever,
He is going
silently.
to counterspell your counterspell. And I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I win because I was the counterspell of the counterspell. You and I, we're going to roll a d20. We're going to add our spell cast. We're going to actually, I'm sorry, our spell casting modifier. This is going to be just like Dispel Magic at a higher level. Roll, add your modifier, and whoever rolls the highest wins.
Yeah,
Okay,
just remember that there's no proficiency bonus. It's just whatever attribute you use.
Oh, just whatever your spellcasting modifier is.
Right.
Okay.
Be intelligent.
Whew. For me, it'd be charisma. Oh boy, I'm going to use my dad's d20. It's my lucky one.
Get the diviner here.
Oh no, that was not good.
Okay.
11.
15.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
He casts the cone of silence. You turn and you snap a counterspell. And with almost a catching gesticulation, he casts it right back at you with the wiggle and counterspells your counterspell.
Well, she then very casually opens up her journal, tears a page out of the back, and starts writing on it.
He drops the silence and he looks to the boy and he says, "Go clean and rest. You look filthy."
Services were rendered and must be paid for. Quid pro quo.
Good cleric. Who said they would pay you?
Brother.
Yes.
And she gives him and her I am no longer playing stare. You got yourself into a deal with the Arcane Brotherhood. You fucking idiot. Now, I know it wasn't necessarily your fault. But look, if we're going to do something for you, and if it were just me, I would do it. Because I am your sister. But you put my friends at risk to do this for you. And when I am with my group, we are a hired team. Familial ties come second here. I'm sorry. You'll always be my brother. I'll always love you. But when I'm with a group and you hire us and ask us to do things, it is not fair to them to not get paid simply because I am your sister.
And
Don't worry about paying my share. I don't care. I do it because I'm your sister. So long as you give Roger and Johann a fair bit, that's fine by me. I'm copying the notes. That's all the payment I need.
He looks to you and he nods and he says, "Very well. If this is indeed that, if it is indeed that way, then I shall obsess. Then I think we could agree that I sent you to assist the lad in bringing back or killing the creature, and it is evident from the young lad's face, you failed. So, upon failing to do your deed, I will not pay you any even thought to be agreed sum. You failed the job you were given, thus you will not be paid for the job at all. However,
Right, I'll just keep these notes then.
For your deeds, you may do so, and I would be happy to tell the great keepers at Candlekeep that you have also stolen their notes, and I'm sure they'll find someone else to come chasing after you, as I have been sent to chase after this thing that had run forth. Now, if you would be so polite as to not interrupt me, dear sister, I know we have raised you better than that. That being said, I would be more than happy to repay you at least for your efforts in babysitting the lad and frankly giving me a night off. To that end, I will provide you a fairly decent spell scroll, one of good power. For your payment, I will provide you. And he reaches into his coat and he pulls out one spell scroll, that of delayed fireball. Puts it down. This is more than you could ask to be paid for, and frankly, it is more than you have earned. But I, for one, cannot overlook my familial balance with my dear sister and her cohorts, and I believe that should handle our business here. But as your loving brother, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a wooden, fully sealed spell scroll, spell tube. He hands it to you, and it's small, like the size of a Pringles can. And he says, "Dear sister, it has been so nice to catch up with you. You have been the breath of fresh air that I have needed walking around with this young upstart. And I give you this through all of my divination and knowledge, that it should never be opened until the moment you need it the most."
You would do well to explain what's in there.
I will do well to do as I please, cleric.
You would do
think
well
he's going to earn
to
himself a
keep.
suggestion.
You would do well to keep your gift. And she sits down and she starts copying the important parts of the notes in the journal into her journal.
He will put his hand over those notes. And he will say, "I have not given you permission to copy my notes. You are not of Candlekeep, not currently, and these are notes for them.
You forget, brother, that I have entered Candlekeep with my own gift of a tome, one that meant a great deal to me, and that I have seen its holes. I have a right to knowledge."
He leans forward and he says, "Then you have forgotten, dear sister, that it is against the laws of Candlekeep to copy knowledge of Candlekeep. Did you forget so easily? Has your time in the fresh air with your foolish friends made you so dense? Do not step to me, sister. I am your elder in age and in power. Turn over the notes."
Well, Bran, you were my brother. And in case you've forgotten, the notes have yet to be in the hands of Candlekeep. As of right now, it is free knowledge, put down by a scholar acting of his own free will.
He's got to burn the table.
While she's distracting him by talking to him, I would like to cast Suggestion on him, which has verbal and material components, meaning my holy symbol.
Okay. Are you casting that openly?
I have no other choice.
He will counterspell that.
He is distracted, talking to his sister.
He is a very high-level wizard. His concentration goes many places.
Very well.
Yeah, from his hand, fire will burst and engulf the table. He'd see the notes burned before them being copied.
Good thing I read them on the walk back then, isn't it?
And he says, "You'll do well with that knowledge to keep to yourself. And you would hope I do not share that information with Candlekeep. Now, sister, I bid you adieu." And he will turn and he will head upstairs.
You'll forgive my saying your brother is an asshole.
That's just it. He never used to be. The 5 of us, we were all thick as thieves. You know, you kind of had to be that way. We were growing up as we did with a father and a nanny.
He
But
destroyed knowledge.
he did. Whatever's happened to him in the intervening years since we've seen each other, it's completely and utterly changed him.
As a cleric of the
Whoever that
knowledge
man
domain.
was, he's not my brother anymore. I apologize, Johann. I
It's fine.
interrupted. You were saying, as a cleric?
It offends my sensibilities as a cleric of the knowledge domain. But the more important I now have is, what exactly did you share with him before Roger and I arrived?
Well, I gotta go. I gotta go
Yeah.
pick up Courtney from work.
Mm-hmm.
So for now, we are going to leave it on the idea that you feel as if your brother has changed. However, though the attention has been quickly drawn to the shouting man producing flames in a tavern, that is quickly turned over as 8 rowdy sailors burst through the door with change in hand, ready to show them a night in which Green Nest is not seen in so long. And with that, we have to end tonight's adventure. I have to at least go. If you guys want to stay on and chat about the events, then
I've got my recording running, so I can share it with you.
okay. All right, brothers. Roger, it was great to talk to you again.
Yes.
Hey, man, this was great. I missed this so much.
It's
Me too.
I'll be excited to have everybody back and getting back into the fray of it, because there's some deep shenanigans and it's some bullshit. I am so excited to pull because you're the group. You're the group I've been waiting for this level of bullshit. Oh,
I
this
have no
level
idea
of
how excited I am that you'd said that.
Oh,
Me
my
too. I have to
God.
work on my interrupting tendencies.
The sure bad idea of this is staggering, and I'm excited to do it. But that being said, I will talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right.
Thank
You
you,
too.
same to you, and thank you for running this. This is always fun.
Thank
This
you.
is
Hey, I'm happy to do it.
amazing.
All right, have a good night.
Bye.
Good night, man.
Night. Oh man, I have to kick my
Right.
ADD in the ass and stop interrupting.
I mean, it's
Unfortunately,
hard.
I gotta go.
Okay.
I gotta work at 6 in the morning. So
Oh geez, dude,
it was-
get some
it
sleep.
was-
We've still
Will
got
do.
so many important things to catch Roger up on.
Yep.
Oh
All right.
god.
This was fun, guys. I look forward to the next one. All right.
All right, bye.
Yeah, me
Have
too.
a good night, guys.
Good night.
Told him everything about our mission.
Oh god. The thing is, Isolde never expected her brother to. I mean, I know time changes people. I've seen that firsthand, but I don't know that she ever would have expected, her brother that she's so close to have changed so drastically. It almost makes me wonder if he's like possessed by something.
I don't know if he's possessed by something or if his time at Candlekeep has changed the way he thinks about things, but him destroying knowledge that isn't in Candlekeep makes me wonder.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He kept saying it belonged to. I wasn't actually sure if, because I'm still working on the a lot of this backstory was in here was Dan's doing.
Mhm.
So I don't know if Bran has actually been into Candlekeep. Isolde has once, but
Oh, I have a theory.
honestly, it's probably
He sounded
something
very
about
Vecnian.
yeah. This rod of many pieces is problematic.
I doubt. I mean, I wonder what became of the fragment that's at Candlekeep if this guy that we encountered ran off with it, like if his deformity is a result of trying to tap into it, or if he was researching it and left and it's still there, or if somebody else even has it. Like, there's so many things that are in the wind right now. We only know that we have 2 of the pieces.
Yeah, and
Yes.
then well, plus, and then if it's still at Candlekeep, then that begs the question: how does it affect the scholars of Candlekeep? Because if I'm remembering my Baldur's Gate days, God, it's been a while since I played through that part of the campaign. Like if I'm remembering that correctly, like there were some forces and demons powerful enough to affect the beliefs of like everybody in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, there certainly are. I am very bad with pantheon of the Forgotten Realms. I don't know if Vecna is part of that pantheon.
Vecna is, yeah. I was gonna say I'll have to take a screenshot of
I mean, I've got the SRDs. I can always look it up. I just have been too lazy to do so. Or
Well,
rather,
I was gonna say, sorry, go ahead.
I've looked at them recently because I looked at the SRD and wanted to know about Sanine because I hadn't known about the undeath thing. So I have seen them. I just have a real hard time keeping them in my head.
Yeah, for me, it's more like in Neverwinter Nights 2, when you can choose from the pantheon. It has like the symbol and all the different gods and the descriptions and like a whole list of them, and it'll also sort it like by race. And I've played that game so many freaking times that I know most of them.
Are you excited about the new one, third one coming out?
Baldur's Gate 3, yeah. Actually, I'm not as sure about the turn-based system. I mean, it's well, turn-based. I can see why it would be handy because, like, when I played like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, I do a lot of pause and then start again for that one. But Neverwinter Nights, I never really had to do that.
I haven't played any of the D&D based computer games so far, so it'll be my first time trying it out.
Yeah, I mean the original Baldur's Gate games are pretty good. Neverwinter Nights is what got me into D&D, the tabletop version. So I know a lot of the 3.5 lore because I was playing the games, and then tabletop I did a little 3.5, and then 4th Ed came out, which I'm not a fan.
It's all very different. I love 4th edition. 4th edition's probably my favorite one. But it was an edition that was very honest. It basically just said, I'm a combat simulator. I'm going to simulate combat. And so combat in 4th edition is wonderful, in my opinion. Everything flows very easily. It's very easy for new players to learn. So, like, to me, in my opinion, I think it's kind of like the perfect edition in that you can get people into it easily. It's easy to understand and explain. Every class runs under the same basic rules. You don't have to like learn new things. You know, you can go from fighter to wizard without too much like relearning of anything. So that's really cool. It is not good at anything that is not combat. You really have to like fill in and figure your own way around not combat things.
Yeah, that was the one thing that because like that was what I noticed about 4th Ed, and like the group I've always been part of the group that's very RP heavy. And the thing is, 3.5 lent itself more to RP than combat. Like I'd have sessions that like, one time we played for 12 hours and like maybe not even one of that was combat. And then you've got 4th Ed, which is like almost pure combat. And yeah, I definitely agree that the combat was very straightforward. And actually, the Neverwinter MMO, I think 4th Ed, what I will say about 4th Ed is that it is the best edition to translate to PC games. If you want to bridge that gap, it's probably the most comprehensive because you can use the dailies, the at-wills, that make that combat system lends really well to the digital format. So I think if you're going to try to get more players to the tabletop game through computer games, you'd want to use 4th Ed.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably don't know, but a huge number of the changes between 3.5 and 5e are inspired by 4th edition.
Yeah, that's what I like about 5e is that it caters to both the numbers gamers and the role players, because I've noticed that I've seen with 5th Ed both types of tables. I've seen the people who are like the purely combat numbers gamers doing really well, and then the group that's purely RP doing really well. So
Yeah, and I can say from my own experience that I ran 4th edition games for years, and these are with groups of players who, especially myself among them, values RP over combat. And so while 4th edition is heavily predicated on combat, like you expect every session almost to have an initiative of some kind, or at least, even if it's not every session, before they go to sleep, you're going to have X number of combats because that's how the system is. If you
Right.
have a group of people who can agree on how things that are not combat can be handled, you can have just as much, the roleplay is not affected by it, by being played in the system. The system, it's just you're role-playing. Okay, it's time to roll for combat. Here are the mechanics for combat. And now you're role-playing again. Like, it can be just fine. If you have a group that doesn't agree on how mechanics need to be applied outside of combat, it can make things rough.
yeah.
But that could be said of any system. To be fair, but just so that I'm clear, everybody can have their own preference for system. I'm certainly aware that I am not in a majority of players of the game that likes 4th edition.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, if you're in the right group, you can definitely lend to the RP. I know we had especially if the DM's good. I remember we had one game where I'll never forget this session. It was hysterical. There was like a wizard who had all these familiars and minions, and my character rolled high enough persuasion to diplomatize, and the others didn't. So I was literally, like, during my turn, I was up on the balcony trying to negotiate with the wizard, and on everyone else's turn, they were down in the rest of the library fighting the monsters, and it worked. So 4th ed definitely, I mean, there's definitely strong and weak points to,
any, but yes.
well, yeah, to any edition. I mean, I know 5th ed definitely has its problems here and there.
Yeah. But, every edition has its strong points and its weak points. 4th edition is no stranger to those, and I'm not going to pretend like it's the perfect edition. It simply is one of my favorites. I certainly prefer it to 3.5 edition. I've recently been invited into a group that is playing 3.5, and while I have been happy to return to a rules system that is very dependent on a battle grid that 5th edition is not, it has been just a nightmare going back through the old rules and going, oh, right, I need to, okay, we do that, and then, okay, wait, hold on, I need to, okay, so in order, right, I have to roll this, subtract that.
3.5 is cranky. Well, it's not as cranky as AD&D though. 2nd ed.
I didn't.
FACA was, oh my god.
I started in 3.5 and I never went backwards. I did some 3.5. We moved into 4th edition. I had another friend was like, a friend of that friend is going to run a game in Pathfinder. I'm like, I've never tried Pathfinder. Let's do that. We had like 3 sessions of Pathfinder, and then I started running 5th edition.
Yeah, like Neverwinter Nights was 3rd edition, and then Neverwinter Nights 2 ventured into 3.5. But then I went back and played the Baldur's Gate games, and I'm like, why is my armor class going into the negatives along with my attack bonus? And then I had to look up FACO, and I'm like, it makes sense, but it's really
weird.
Yes. I'm like, okay, this is
for
just
people to understand numbers that go up instead of down.
Yeah, funny thing about that.
People like it when numbers go up. So you build systems that cater to that. Right, but that's why I'm wondering if this is a Vecna influence. Just because Vecna is all about knowledge is power, and the fewer people that have knowledge, the more power those people have. And so it's a real Vecna move to destroy knowledge so that someone else can't have it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, if
unfortunately,
you can't be the only person to have it, then no one can have it. So that's kind of my theory that I'm currently crafting about that. It also is certainly no coincidence that we're now starting to see more activity revolving around this rod of many parts, and it's only going to get worse.
Oh yeah.
We also have to figure out, like, why Roger might be Emerald Terror.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's just odd.
Bit of that. And then we still deal with the train heist. However, that's gonna go sideways and pear-shaped simultaneously. And then we have to figure out some way of actually eliminating this group, the Order of the Blue Scale, if we want the that full later to hold up her end.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because we're supposed to.
According to that agreement, it was to dismantle the
Dismantle
organization.
the organization, yeah.
And in her words, it could be kill the leader, kill them all, do whatever you have to do, whatever.
The Order of the Blue Scale, but I feel like we got information on the Emerald Terror while investigating the Order of the Blue Scale. Like when we got that backstory about the.
I thought that came from the side one we did with Chase when we were looking for jobs.
Oh, you're right. That did.
That's when we first saw this Emerald Terror flyer. And there was a bunch of money associated with eliminating the Emerald Terror because it's been spotted coming into yada yada, destroying farms, this, that, the other. And so that was just one of the, like, 4 or 5 things that we could do. But I'm also seriously over here trying to work my social engineer mojo to get these people trust the Church of Asmodeus.
Yes, trust the Church of the Devil Lord, of the Lord of all devils, yeah. Lord of the Nine. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work great, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do. He's very straightforward, Asmodeus. He is the king
Yeah, I really liked, like, when I read Asmodeus's backstory and everything that went down, I'm like, he's not that bad.
He's very smart.
I mean, yeah, he's very smart. And I feel like he has this, I can imagine him sitting and saying in the Scar's voice, I'm surrounded by idiots. Based on what I've read of some of, not just the Lords of the Nine, but the denizens of the Nine. I was going to say, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes is really good. But then I've always really, I think some of my favorite part of the lore has been, like the Blood Wars and the Hells and the...
Yeah, I can feel you on that. I think that the gods have some of the most interesting lore about how they, squabble and fight, vie for power over the prime material plane.
Yeah.
My players are, in my Tuesday campaign, are tangentially getting involved into some of that backstory. My homebrew world runs on the timeline of the Dawn War. And so one of the players has recently committed himself to the following of Corellin Larethian. And so
I know Corellin, yeah, because one of our clerics is a cleric of Corellin.
Yeah, so he's all about beauty and magic, and fighting Lolth. And so after they had gone through the desert and done all this stuff, and he had decided, he had died. That's what had happened. I'm trying to think back to the instigating moment. He had died when he got literally melted by an ancient black dragon that was way above his level to fight.
Yikes.
And he met the Raven Queen as, she was basically trying to help him determine what plane of existence he should go to now that he's dead. Like, because he hadn't declared following any particular god in life. He hadn't really worked toward following any particular god. She's like, so if you don't choose a god, you can stay here with me. And the unsaid part of that is, if you stay here with me, there's a 50-50, you're going to stay here and help me guide other souls, or I'm going to send you to the Nine Hells to serve an Asmodeus army.
Yeah.
But right as she's like going through that with him, they were still running in combat rounds. So it was pretty, for me, I thought it was pretty awesome and tense. They needed to get the paladin back on his feet and get him over to the dead sorcerer to cast Revivify on him. And Revivify doesn't give the soul a choice. So, like, Resurrection and Raise Dead both let the soul choose if it wants to come back. So, the Raven Queen is, basically walking with him down memory lane and trying to help him figure out what plane he's going to go to now that he's dead. And all of a sudden, his spirit just gets pulled away.
Gets like he yoinked back.
She's just like, motherfuckers, why are the living always messing with the affairs of the dead?
Right.
So he gets yoinked back, and he, now that he's alive again, he's realized, oh shit, if I ever die again, I don't want to get stuck in the Shadowfell. I want to actually go to a god's plane. So he, looked at what gods were around and said, Corellin seems interesting. What can I do to serve Corellin? Okay, Corellin wants you to find pieces of artwork and magic, and beauty, and protect them, or restore them, or retrieve them if they've been lost. Like, okay, what can I find? And so I racked my brain for like 2 weeks and finally said, here's a bunch of different pieces of art and magic items that have been lost over the years that the temple of either Corellin or Ione would know people are looking for. And so one of those, I told him, was a set of statues, like statuary, that depicted the original gods from before the end of the Dawn War, which was Corellin, Pelor, Sayanine, and Io, and Nerul. Nerul and Io.
Nerul.
Yeah. So those were the original gods that were duking it out before the Dawn War ended, and then when the Dawn War came to its end, one of the final acts of that combat was that Io was sundered and became Bahamut and Tiamat.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. About. I really like the Dawn War storyline and the pantheon that sprung from it, and definitely part of the reason for that is how many years I spent playing 4th edition, so I became intimately familiar with that pantheon. So I continue to use them, and so that's one of the kind of cool things. They also have an artifact from the goddess Ione, who is the goddess of knowledge in this pantheon, and the artifact is sort of like Pokédex, if I want to put it in the simplest terms. It's a sapient orb that is able to draw on its vast memory of its whole existence and be able to answer questions and tell the party things if they ask it. And so, at one point, they found an interdimensional traveler. A character popped into their universe, onto their prime material plane from a different parallel prime material plane, and started explaining like how he got there and stuff. And the artifact was like, oh, well, that could be explained. There are many different parallel planes. He's not lying. He's just from a different prime material plane, which would be explained by, the one piece of knowledge that Ione actually implanted me with, which was the results of the Dawn War. So they have, like, some of that information.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's been a very long campaign.
That's not bad, though.
No, I love it. I don't know what I'm gonna do when it ends. We've been playing that one for 4 years now, and it's been almost every single week. We've only missed a handful of weeks.
That's really cool. And it's amazing that you've all managed to meet that many times.
Yeah, the group has fluctuated a little bit. Like the beginning, like the first year of the campaign, there was a lot of joining and leaving of different players, but there were 3 players. I guess at this point there's 2. There's 2 players who have been there the whole time, since the very beginning, and they haven't changed characters. They've come close to death, but they've survived every time. And then there's a 3rd player who was near to the beginning, and he's been there the whole time too, since then. I said 3 because there were 3. Okay, so that's a lie. The reason I said 3 players first was because one of the 2 players has played 2 characters, because one of his characters did die. He got petrified by a beholder. He failed his saving throws.
Oops.
The party was like 8th level or something at the time and didn't have a way of fixing him. They left him behind.
Poor dude.
Poor dude.
Although, to be fair, I've had characters go that way. Oh my god, there was one session where 2 of our characters died. And then later on we went back higher level and just utterly annihilated